back, everyone. Welcome back to another hello, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition here of the LiuLi Cup. LiuLi Cup number 46, day 1. I'm of course your VIP, with me and joined by these amazing players, by the people in chat, and by my bunnies as well. Hello, bienvenidos one and all. LiuLi Cup, of course, is an invitational. This is not the same as the LiuLi Weekly. Bear that in mind. There's a LiuLi Cup Weekly, and then there's a regular LiuLi Cup. So LiuLi Cup is an invitational tournament, and here we have 8 amazing players ready for you. Bearing in mind as well, this is going to be a replay cast. We were live last night, of course, covering the SC Safe House. Sorry, that was the day before. We had Spark and Tuna Cup last night, and of course we are here with LiuLi Cup. This took place a week ago, and we are catching up on LiuLi Cup. Again, day 1 here today. Tomorrow is going to be day 2. We were originally going to be covering the SC Safe House playoffs, but the replays are not available yet. So of course we were live casting the group stage. The playoffs most likely will be covering in a day or 2 whenever the replays do become available. So once that becomes available, bam, we'll be jumping on the playoffs of the SU Safe House. Until then, LiuLi Cup will keep us covered. And of course, we have our lovely bunnies. There was some shenanigans as the stream was going live, which I did post in our Discord server. Okay, este chichi, papi. But again, amazing, beautiful. And let's catch up on the bracket. Let's figure out where we are and where we are headed as we have the quarterfinals, as we have the round of 8 of our tournament. Here we go. As you can see here, we have our top 8, we have our 8 invited players, we have Creator versus Percival, we have ByuN versus SHIN. Oh, SHIN is not Polish. un momento, papi, un momento. I just have to fix up some of the, there we go, beautiful. So we have Creator versus Percival, we have ByuN versus SHIN, Rogue versus herO, and Classic versus Clem. A hefty lineup of players. Nice balance of players as well. We've got 3 Protoss, we've got 3 Terran, and we got 2 Zerg players. So again, a nice little balance here between the respective races, and we'll see how a tournament can and does unfold. Now, unfortunately, this is not going to be featuring any TLMC 21 maps. At this point, I believe voting is closed. Voting has concluded. Bear that in mind. So yesterday was kind of like the final day to get your voting in for TLMC 21. I'm hoping that everyone listening to this did vote on TL and did vote for your specific and favorite maps. Hoping that was the case. Shaking my head. As of course we have our top 8 here. Again, regular standard ladder map pool. I should also emphasize that now that the TLMC 21 voting is over, we are going to be adjusting our map pool again for our tournaments. We're going to be featuring a kind of hybrid map pool of ladder maps alongside some selected, some specific TLMC 21 maps as well. So we'll be having a custom map pool, but again, that's going to be moving forward for the remainder of our tournaments. Until then, we have our first series of the broadcast. We're going to be jumping into Creator versus Percival. Again, we're going to be covering every single quarterfinals match. So Creator Percival into ByuN SHIN, into Rogue, herO, into Classic, and Clem. That is going to be the plan. That is going to be the go-to. Tomorrow will be the semifinals and grand finals. Also, I should emphasize that this is all going to be best of 5s. Best of 5s. The parties are getting comfortable. Oh, they're watching. They're tuning into the stream, Piper. They're getting comfy. Let's go. First, TVP, Creator and Percival facing off. Game 1 is going to be on Persephone. Let's go. Let us go. Just catching up in the chat. Oh. Here we go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Persephone, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing himself, currently teamless. It is Percival. The bunnies, yeah, the bunnies. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. Bam. There they are. And spawning in the bottom-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. It is a Creator. A new co-caster? Yes, exclamation mark bunny cam in the chat. True. To get a brief description of our bunnies, you can see they're both up there, both chilling. On the carrier. They're beautiful. I do have to vacuum their enclosure. I'm going to be doing that after the cast. We're getting in there. Cleaning on up. Until then, though, we have our TVP. Now, when it comes to this matchup, when it comes to these 2 players, Percival, he has been improving quite a lot, quite drastically over the past year of play. I say year, maybe around like 10 months, around 10 months of play. It's very impressive to see percival's growth as a player, specifically in this matchup, and where he really thrives is the early to mid game. Like many Terran players, to be fair, in the early to mid game, he's hyper aggressive, very in your face. We expect a lot of all-ins, we expect a lot of timing attacks. We expect Percival to be looking to try to break through Creator. At the same time, Creator, he's a little bit more of a defensive Protoss player compared to the others in Korea. I'm referring to Classic, herO, Zound, right? Compared to the other three, Creator, he's at times a little bit more, you know, standoffish here. So we'll see how he does adjust his approach as well. Bearing in mind, of course, that we have a new patch and that TVP has been impacted quite a bit, more so than I would say any other matchup, really. Just because of the diversity of play nowadays, we can open up Storm, we can open up Colossus. Both are very much so viable, and we have seen a lot of the Koreans embrace Colossus-based play and Colossus-based openers as well. Of course, we had the latest hotfix to try to alleviate some of that by increasing the Ghost HP, which does help when it comes to surviving Colossus swipes and the longevity of the Ghost. But despite that, we do typically see players kind of avoiding... Oh, hello. Avoiding rushing the Ghost nowadays. Meanwhile, that is a 3rd TC before Factory. This is a 3cc 3 racks. ByuN, is that you? This is a patented ByuN build. ByuN is very fond of this, specifically on larger maps. We actually even saw ByuN do this build against herO last night. If you were here for the Tuna Cup, you would have seen ByuN embrace this build more than once. Very greedy, very risky play here by Percival. But what did I just say about Creator? I mentioned the Creator, he is a little bit more standoffish. He's less aggressive than some of the other Korean Protoss players out there. So this can be punished 100%, but does Creator punish? That's the question. Like, does he respond? Does he react with extra gateways? A way to shut this down is 4-gate blink, for example. Why is 4-gate blink so good against this? Well, as you're seeing, what is this build called? 3cc 3 racks. There's a second racks. We're going to be seeing another racks thereafter. And what this means is you have a really delayed factory. And there it is. There's that 3rd racks. So really late factory, which means really late tank production. So your defensive setup here is that much weaker, at least until stim finishes, right? Like, we should be rushing into stim here and rushing into a bio composition, a really heavy marine count, but pre-stim you are very vulnerable. Behind this we have 2 more gates on the way, Robo as well, 3-gate blink, standard opener, and Creator has not gotten into the main. No sentry, no hallucination. So no hallucination scouts. Because of that, Creator, he is playing blind, he's in the dark, he sees a bunker, he sees marines. This is not enough of a tell though.
Research complete.
As so far he fails to get into the main base. Now, Creator, he can still apply pressure with 3-gate blink Stalker. True, 3-gate blink can still apply pressure, can still gain value, and can still punish this in some way, but it depends on whether or not he commits. We could see him go for an Observer, delay his Warp Prism, and go for a 3rd. And looks like that's what's happening. Yeah, 3rd base on the way. So, Creator, he's just playing safe. He's playing safe, which means Percival, he should get away with this build. So he's going to get away with it. Now, when I say get away with it, what does this mean? When it comes to this opener, I mean, it's very economic, it's very greedy. It allows you to saturate your 3rd base faster. It also allows you to, of course, claim your 3rd base faster. And typically, the big power spike for the Terran player with this build is to get into, specifically, 3-base saturation. Once you get into 3-base saturation, that's when you hit a big power spike. That's when you go up in army supply as well. You have that big supply boost, and then you can be aggressive, active, and try to break your opponent's 4th base and just snowball from there. Or even just break your opponent's 3rd. So there's a lot of potential here for Percival once he really hits his stride. Meanwhile, Creator back at home, just getting his 3rd base, being more passive. Again, he's getting the Observer, not getting the Warp Prism. We do have the Forge on the way, the Bay on the way. We're just teching. We're just teching up. We're skipping Warp-ins. We're not being aggressive. And again, I'm favoring Percival in this position, but Creator, like, he's, you know, settling into his own. He's kind of building up into his own mid-game. As now he fans out some of his Stalkers, he'll be able to get eyes on any kind of move outs. Again, Percival, he should not be pushing anytime soon. Again, like, he should be building up into stim, that is true, but he has to wait for the medevacs to be active on the map. So waiting for the medevacs, then we can go for some drop play. Like, where's 3rd base now floating over? Stim is complete, just in time. Meanwhile, Creator, he does focus on the Marauder. Nicely done. Gets a Marauder, gets a Marine. He wants that second Marauder. He gets it. Very nice, actually. 2 Marauders go down. Doesn't sound like a lot, but he just cut the Marauder count in half. Did just cut it in half. Nicely done. So some clean micro here out of Creator. Behind this, rushing into a fourth. And now he's aware, right? Now he's aware of the third base timing. He sees the saturation. He sees, of course, no tanks, the Mass Marine, the Medivacs. He knows. And now he's aware. And again, doing the best he can to pick off some key units here. That's going to be 5 Marines, 2 Marauders, 1 SCV, and 0 losses for Creator. Very efficient. Nicely done. Percival, he rushes into a 4th CC. I did mention at the start of this game, at the start of the series, that Percival, he is one that's typically much more aggressive and in your face, and he thrives in the mid game. But this is a very different Percival that we're seeing here, rushing into a 4th CC, doubling down on greed. Now, this means a couple of different things. One, it means, of course, Percival, he's building up into a 4th base, he's looking to max out. The downside is that we spoke about this big power spike that Percival was going to have, right? We spoke about this power spike once he saturates his 3rd base, but he's spending all that money not on army, not on a timing attack, but instead on a 4th base. So he's not being aggressive, he's being more defensive, I should say. More defensive, he's building up into a longer game state. Creator, he spots a move out, thanks to the Observer. See Creator getting in position. Creator comfortably getting his own 4th base saturated. Colossus are slowly amassing. He's already got 2, soon to be 3 Colossus. We spoke about this earlier, but again, if you haven't been watching the most recent patch, there's been a lot of course, changes to Storm, and Storm is a very different kind of spell nowadays, but just to re-emphasize, the Colossus production and Colossus play is very much so viable in this matchup in TVP. You could argue even more so than Storm. Once again, just to reiterate, the reason for this is because of the change to the Ghost. The Ghost is now a light unit, so it takes bonus damage from the Colossus. So Colossus space play has seen an uptick. Has been seeing an uptick in popularity. Of course, you don't want to stick with Colossus. You do want to turn this into Disruptor production or Storm. So we'll see if we go for a Temple Archives. Oh, there it is. I was going to say a Temple Archives or a second robot. So Storm is on the horizon. Creator is just chilling, just heading back at home, getting a 5th expansion, and meanwhile Percival getting his 4th. So again, just a really passive game so far. I say passive, it's been Creator that's been getting value, of course. Percival, he has to make sure he doesn't get caught out. Remember, he has no Vikings, not yet, no Ghosts either, they're still in production. They're gathering here back at home. Now it all comes together. He's got his EMPs. He's got only 6 Vikings, so the Viking count is actually quite low. Second starport's on the way. Oh, he's an EMP. EMP does connect. That's Colossus. Oh, they do take a lot of hits. Vikings, they zone away. Sorry, the Stalkers do zone away the Vikings. Okay, 3 Vikings so far, not bad. 3 Vikings left. Just now reinforcing. Colossus get another volley in. 1 Colossus finally going to be going down. Oh, not even. Ay, ay, ay. Does barely survive. And these have been better trades for Creator, mainly bleeding out Zealots. Zealots for what? Zealots for Vikings, Marines, Marauders, a couple of Ghosts. EP connects. Once again, the Colossus are low, but they still are just getting more damage done. Finally, 1 goes down. Oh, he gets 1, he gets 2. Gets 2 Colossi. As we go through by Percival, he denies part of the warp in. Does take down the final Colossus. And where's Storm, by the way? If you remember, we had the Temple Archives, did get an Archon. He rushed that knocked down. Percival does kite away. He does kite away. And he escapes. He does escape. Yeah, Creator, he's lost a little momentum here. No warp-ins, no reinforcements. Now we get a second robo on the way. He never got into Storm. And Percival takes a lead. Percival takes a big lead here. He's maxed. And now's the time to push. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't really know what he's moving into. He doesn't really know what Creator has back at home and whether or not he does have Storm waiting or not. So first of all, he splits up his army. Only fighting with half. Oh. Jumping into the main. Nice blink. Does blink in. Tries to go for the Metamax. And the army's a little bit too hefty, but there we go. Does force a lift. Does force a lift. First we'll try to catch out the Colossus. Barely gonna get one. And gets one Colossus, but he's gonna be punished for it though. Bleeding out Vikings. Ooh, bleeding out a lot. A bit of miscontrol there by Percival. Loses extra Vikings in the retreat. Looks like he had the entire army selected. Not just the Vikings. And he's being cleaned up. And from here he should be cleaned up. The final medevac goes down. Now, what's scary here is that the armies have been trading, but the bases, for the most part, has been left alone. 5 probes went down, but Creator, he's double expanding, going for the gold base, going for the base on the left-hand side. The probe count is still lacking. Creator, he needs more workers. He's making 7 probes at a time, and disruptors are finally on the way. It is so difficult to maintain yourself as a Protoss player with only one form of splash damage, whether it's Storm, Disruptor, or Colossus. Finally, we're getting a mixture of the two. We never got into Storm, by the way. It was only for our comp production, which was interesting to say the least, but it's going to be into Disruptors. Now, Disruptors, they're ideal in a longer game state just because Ghosts are ineffective against them. Ghosts, they EMP and they can shut down High Templar quite nicely, quite easily. They can also soften up Colossus, so they can be weaker against Vikings, but Disruptors, they're not weaker against any of those. Of course, they're still vulnerable just because they're not consistent when it comes to their splash damage, or when it comes to their just DPS output in general. But Disruptors are what you need in a longer TVP. So Disruptors are amassing at the same time Percival is getting into his own Liberator production. Liberators are on the way. This is kind of the end goal here for the Terran in late game TVP, is getting to mass lib. And the goal base is going to be denied. Same time, Creator does catch the army on the left-hand side. 3 medevacs go down. Very nice. So we'll lose the base. Percival doesn't really have much to defend. So better fight for Creator, but he does pull away. Creator pulls away back home. More Disruptors are building up. Once Liberators get up to critical mass, that's when you do need Sky Toss. Typically Tempest. We're not there yet. So far, there are 4, soon to be 5 Liberators. It's going to be a 3rd Starport in production. Nice recall. Does recall, does get away. Oh, a little bit trigger happy. There's 2 Novas going off. There's what, 1 Nova left? Sorry, 2 Novas remaining. Nice time for Liberator. Creator in a bit of an awkward position. Does try to catch reinforcements, but if he's not too careful, he's going to be surrounded. Oh, who's surround 2? Okay. Creator coming in from behind, getting on top of the Liberators. Yeah, Liberators are exposed. Not bad. Should be able to get all 3. 3 lives going down. Disruptors ace thrown away. A better angle here for Creator, and Creator, he should clean this up. I say that the Vikings, they barely get the Colossus. Oh no! Oh, they barely don't! Colossus survives. 22 HP. And Creator cleans up, and he's gonna keep pushing. Bearing in mind, what did Creator lose? He lost the gold, and he lost the 5th base. Sorry, the 6th base on the left-hand side. So he's stuck on 5 bases, so is the Terran. So Creator is going to keep pushing. And again, just a really awkward fight for Percival. Stuck with his Liberators out of position. Oh, never goes off. Decent connection. Doesn't kill. Doesn't quite kill. 7 SCVs went down. Creator still has momentum. And he's catching out the army. Yeah, Liberators are on siege. Gets one, gets both. The Liberators are out of position. Catching out more ghosts. Oof. Yeah, from here he can just snowball out of control. He can take it. Send it, man. Send it. Liberators are going to be harassing, but the main army just can't be stopped. Not anymore. Not like this. There are no Vikings. No pre-siege libs. Just now trying to set up. Instantly just being focused down. And Creator, he has done it. He has done it. He has broken the back of Percival. It was an intense back and forth. And Percival had some nice moves up until that fight here. Up until that fight outside of the 6th and 5th base. When Creator came in from behind, he was able to snipe 5 Liberators without them doing any damage. And Percival was just forced into a very awkward fight. Creator, he breaks through the 3rd base, now pushing into the natural. He gets some flanking EMPs, but GG gets called, and Creator, he takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Creator does take a lead in the series. Again, a very intense back and forth, a very passive majority of the game, like first half. First half of the game, both players were just taking, being greedy. I will say that there was a big kind of window of opportunity for Percival. If you remember, Creator, he took a really rough fight where he lost all 3 Colossus. When he pushed across the map, he lost all the Colossus. If you remember, that was the fight just after he threw down the Templar Archives. And I was like, oh, he's going to get into Storm. And he didn't. He never did. And there was a window there where he was down, what, 30 supply. He lost all the Colossus. He had no splash damage behind it. But Percival didn't push. Percival was maxed. He was maxed out. What did he do? He went for a drop, right? He split up his army. He went for a drop. At the time we were saying that he didn't know like how far behind Creator was. He didn't know how vulnerable Creator was, so he didn't push with his army because he was afraid of a counterattack, right? He was afraid of a counterattack, but there wasn't the supply for a counterattack. So unfortunately, Percival, he kind of didn't realize what the game state was, didn't realize how ahead he was, and the window closed, right? So the window closed. We saw that Creator, he was able to get into double robo disruptor production and did stabilize, took a better fight. GG, well played. With that, Creator does take a lead in the series, and now we're getting into game number 2. And the bunnies are on the low ground now. Let's go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of ley lines, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the South Korean Terran. We have the blue Terran representing himself, currently teamless. Down in the series, it is Percival. We'll see if he can bounce back. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player. The red Protoss leading the series 1-0. It is a Creator. Now, I do not expect to see Percival go for the same build 2 games in a row. As a reminder, last game it all began with Percival going for a 3cc 3-max, and that led into a really fast 4th cc, if you recall. Again, it was very kind of mid-game oriented on Persephone. We'll see what Percival goes for this time, as Creator is opening up with a proxy gateway. Let's go! So 2 gate opener at a Creator. He's hoping that Percival is greedy, and do you see what I see? I see a Rax expand. We'll see if Percival goes for the CC on the low ground as well. Oh boy. So here we go. Rax is almost done. Yep. SCV moves out. There's that proxy gateway across the map here for Creator. Across the map. Here comes the first zealot. The way this works here is that you chrono out the first zealot. As he runs across the map, then you can make a stalker here from the proxy, and then you can reinforce with the adept, as the adept does shade faster across the map, or designed to reinforce, or designed to force a cancel on the CC. And he sees. At least, I mean, the SV gets across the map, does get eyes on the opener. Here comes the stalker. Interesting, opening up double stalker, not adept. Okay, so the reinforcing unit is going to be a little bit more delayed. And there's a cancel. Yeah, that's what he wanted. First of all, he saw no command center. Sorry, he saw no nexus. Of course, no CC. He saw no nexus. He's like, oh, you have to spend your money somewhere. There's a proxy, forced to cancel. And creator, this is already paid for itself. Now, ideally, he wanted this to be a later cancel for it to be a bigger investment. So at least Percival did recognize what was happening. At least he canceled a little bit earlier just to get the earlier refund. Oof. Bunker is going to be delayed. Bunker is delayed. SCV goes down. And we're still rallying. We're still rallying in with that second Stalker, with the Adept. The Adept Shade does provide high ground vision. The army can just poke away. At the same time, Percival, he's going across the map. Back at home, there is nothing to defend, but there is one Adept in production. Oof. As down go the SCVs, down goes the bunker, the depot in. Depot does fall. Reaper gets across the map. Oh, and that's a delay on the CC. Oof, brutal pickoff. Yeah, command center is delayed. Army gets up the ramp. There's that defensive Adept. Shuts down the Reaper. And Percival, this is a disastrous start. Losing add-ons. Oof, losing the Reaper. Gets into the mineral line. And these are losses that he just cannot afford. Down to 0 Marines. Has to be so careful with the Widowmine shots. Army gets surrounded. Widowmine is scuttling in. Does he get the shot off? He does! Ooh, nice connection. Nice shot, but that's still 9 SCVs. Still 9 SCVs being killed here, and still a big delay on the CC, a delay on everything. Creator, he's chilling. He's chilling back at home, saturating his bases. Getting his natural up and running. Taking into Blink. And Creator has a very comfortable lead. He has double the worker count. First of all, how do we recover? I mean, he has to do something crazy, right? A Hail Mary play, either a one-base ult, sorry, I say one-base all-in, I guess. Either go for an all-in, or here he's going into Banshee play. Cloak Banshee play could work as well. Just something, anything to get some counter damage. So Banshees are on the way. Right, there's a slim chance. There's a slim chance that, hey, maybe Creator delays his robot. Maybe the robot is delayed. Maybe the Observer is never made. Maybe it's out of position. Maybe the Observer moves out across the map and there's no energy for a recall because of, well, say a chrono boost. Like, there are different, like, opportunities here. There are definitely possibilities. It's a slim chance, but yeah, we gotta do something. Mansions being sent out. You know, maybe Creator's overly greedy and he went for a third Nexus before Robo or something along those lines. But it is Percival just hoping and relying on Creator making mistakes, or for there to be like an opportunity like that. As he has 3 SCVs at the natural. I mean, the mules are helping. True. Mules are helping. So everyone moves out. Mules, Copian. Yes, here comes Creator. Here comes Creator, pushing into the natural. There's no bunker. Tank has arrived, but Creator can still take control of the low ground. Here come the Banshees. 2 Banshees, they can one-shot probes. But soon Creator's just gonna dive. Yeah, he has enough. He has enough. Without a bunker, without a proper, like, sustainable army here, just dives in, takes out the tank, and takes down everything. There's the Observer here with the main army as well. At the same time, Banshees, they do get across the map. Probes are going down, and we're going for, like, a quote-unquote base raid here. The Banshees doing what they can, but at the same time, Creator's main army cannot be stopped. Blinks into the main, takes down the final tank. Boys are being pulled. Marines, they're trading against the Stalkers at least, but yeah, the writing is on the wall. Down to 4 Marines, down to 3 Marines, down to 2, 1. 1 Marine left. GG gets called, and Creator takes extends his lead in the series 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. And with that, Creator, he does take that 2-0 lead. And now we're getting to game number 3. Let's go. Getting into game 3 here, and again, it was just a really rough start for Percival. Winding it back, Percival, so the build orders, they did align for Creator. Percival happened to be going for a Rax Expand, Economic Opener out of Percival. Meanwhile, what was Creator doing? He was going for a 2-gate. He was going for a proxy 2 gates, or proxy 1 gateway back at home. The purpose of that was to force a cancel on the CC, and he did force it. It was a very, very strong start for Creator. From there, he snowballed out of control. He got into the main base, he killed the depot, he killed, was it 9 SCVs? Yeah, it was 9 workers. It was brutal damage. It was just really unfortunate that the CC was close enough to also be delayed. If you remember, he broke into the main base, delayed the CC even further. He was able to kill the depot. The repair on the depot was too late, so the army got in, and then the boys had to be pulled a second time. That's when 9 SCVs went down, even forcing a bit of friendly fire from the Widow Mine. So just everything went wrong, everything went south there early on, and that essentially killed Percival. As you mentioned, like, technically there is a chance that you can recover, and Percival, he was hoping for that. That's why he went into Cloak Banshee, that's why he stuck in it as long as he did. But again, it was a very slim chance. And with that, we're now getting into game number 3. Let's go. You know, now everything's panned out. It seems Protoss' demise might be slightly exaggerated. I don't think anyone with any knowledge about the game said that Protoss was looking bad coming into the patch. What? I think we all said that it was a solid patch for Protoss in regards to PvZ and PvT. I think we were all in unison about that. So I don't know who you're talking about. But here we go. Here we go. We're getting into our next game. Not saying that that has anything to do with this series, of course. Not at all. As in the top left-hand corner of a pylon, we have the blue Terran player. We have the blue Terran himself. The south green Terran, it is Percival. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player. We have the red Protoss himself. Leading the series 2-0, it is a Creator. Here we go. So again, a very kind of quote-unquote lucky, or like, again, like everything kind of lined up in game number 2 here for Creator. And you can see he's checking for a proxy. I don't blame him, right? Like, after what happened in game number 2, Creator, he's checking for a proxy, checking at the third base. I was promised the storm changes will make Protoss worldwide collapse into black hole or something. Again, I don't think anyone was saying that. Well, I should say, I don't think anyone of like any reputable note was saying that. You're spending too much time on Reddit. Too much time on Reddit. There we go. Here we go. For now, we do have, once again, an economic opener. I do appreciate that Percival, no fear. No fear by Percival. No SCV scouts, and likewise, Rax Expand. This is the same opener that he went for last game. Same opener, but Percival, he believes that Creator won't go for the same aggressive build 2 games in a row. Does open a Marine as well, Jesus. So the greed is real here. So does open a Marine, what does that mean? 0 scouting. No SCV scout, no Reaper scout either. So no Reaper scout, no SCV scout. He's blindly going for Marauder. Now the goal, the purpose here is that Creator just went for a probe scout. And because of that, Creator, he saw the CC on the low ground. So Percival believes that Creator is going to try to apply pressure and try to punish this. So his goal is to try to hard counter that pressure with these Marauders. And the goal here is to catch the first gateway units. Wait for concussive shell, catch the first couple of units, and punish Creator's aggression. It's risky just because it's quite a big investment here. It isn't really worth it if you don't catch any units. Creator breaks in, sees Marauder, yeah, gets away. As soon as he sees Marauder, bam, he gets the hell out of there. Creator, he does not want to lose his units, and he won't. So quick reactions there from Creator, and this is also why typically if you've been watching players like Clem or ByuN or Cure, when they go for this build, they actually hide that first Marauder here. They hide it here on the right hand side. So what happens is the Adept gets lured in, they see no Marauder, they go for the SCV, and then the Marauder comes in from behind, and then you catch the units, right? Usually you want to hide that Marauder. Unfortunately, personally kept it with the main army, so Creator gets away. Creator, he sees it, he does get away. Behind this, Creator going for a Stargate opener. So Stargate opener into Phoenixes. With this, we're going to be looking to gain map control. Once again, the scary thing about what Creator's doing is the fact that there is zero scouting. That's what's scary. Like, I mean, from the Terran player. Percival, he sees nothing. He sees nothing, he knows nothing. Stargate openers and Stargate play, if you know anything about PvT, is much rarer nowadays, especially this year in 2025, just because of the strength of all-ins, and especially on this map like Pylon. True, like this is a crazy build here by Creator, but Stargate play and Stargate builds, they're very vulnerable to all-ins, and we saw a rise and uptick in all-ins in this matchup this year in 2025. That's why we rarely see it. It's also why if Percival scouted, he could shut this down. Right now, Percival doesn't know if it was Blink or Stargate or Robo. He doesn't know what the tech is, doesn't know what Creator's up to. Now, what I will say, based on the build that we're seeing here, it doesn't matter. This screams 2 base all in. 3-1-1. 3 Raxes, 1 factory, no starport. Basically, what's happening here is that Percival, he intentionally delayed the starport in favor of stim. So really fast stim timing. So fast stim, fast marine production, fast tank production, late starport, late medevacs, late drop play. With this, we can pull the boys and go for a 2 base all in. So I actually really like this for Percival, considering what he's up against. Like Phoenixes, they really struggle against this. They can pick up a Marine at a time. They can pick up the tanks, but remember, this is 3 racks, so you have plenty of anti-air to deal with the Phoenixes to protect the tanks. Now, thankfully, safety Immortals. Okay, Immortal production and Phoenixes, they go in, they get a safe for the first time, sees tanks, sees the 3x, he knows. Yeah, he knows back home, we need Warpins, we need Immortals as quickly as possible. Does catch the Cyclone, okay. Cyclone gets lifted, is going to be zoned away, and back at him, Creator, he is getting that second Immortal. Really, really important here that we're getting into Immortal production. Something else that's important, Creator didn't expand. He did not get a 3rd base. He has the money for it. I mean, getting it now would be crazy considering that the all-in is coming, but he didn't expand, which means, there we go, shield batteries. Shield batteries are on the way, Immortals are on the way, extra Warpins, we have a Colossus in production as well. And it's all or nothing. The boys are being pulled. Massive 2 base all in here from Percival. And we'll see if this works out. We'll see if this pans out. It's going to be close. It's going to be close, but there are force fields. Creator, he has the high ground. Percival, he's waiting for his boys. The boys have arrived. So far, decent kiting does force the early siege. Yeah, nice start already. Yeah, very nice start here for Creator. This is heavily delaying the all-in. Like, any early siege you can force is huge because Percival has 1 siege, slowly push forward, slowly get within range, and this is allowing for extra Warpins, and allowing for the Colossus. Yeah, Colossus has right, Phoenix, they're coming from behind, they're going for the tanks, they lift up both, and the Colossus just goes down. Yeah, he just goes to town here in the army. Nice kind with the Colossi, Immortals, they focus on the tanks, 1 tank left, and the tank isn't within range of anything. Within range of the Stalker, to be fair. Yeah, we're pushing in. We're pushing in. Oof. Cleaning up more Marines. Tankers down. 1 tank left. Once again, force the siege very far behind. And Percival, he doesn't threaten any of the production. He doesn't get close enough. He doesn't get close enough here. Creator expanding in the face of the all-in. I mean, that shows how confident Creator is. How well this defense panned out. And now we're moving in. Now we're moving in. Down to 1 Marauder, down to 1 Marine. And a Creator will clean this up. And Percival, he has nothing behind this. There's nothing else back at home. GG gets called, and Creator takes the series 2-0, advancing on to the semifinals. GG. GG, well played. Creator, he does claim the series here. Again, Percival, it was a risky move, blindly going for this 2-base all-in, but in the end, I did actually like the choice, specifically against Creator's build. Unfortunately, Creator, he was playing it safe. As we were trying to point out, he did not take his third. I mean, he did at the very end, when he could afford to, but he didn't rush into a faster third base, and he was able to scout in time, recognize what was going on. Even before the scout, he was already making immortals. Like, he was playing safe. He was choosing to play safe. He was already making safe the immortals. He was already delaying his third base, and he happened to be going up against an all-in. So really good read on what his opponent would do. Really good game sense here from a Creator, just assuming that Percival would be hyper committed and hyper aggressive. GG. GG, well played. So Creator does shut Percival down, and with that, we are now going to be following, or we're now going to be confirming who will face off against Creator in the semifinals. Let's go. Let us go. As Creator, he does advance on, and he's waiting for the winner of ByuN and SHIN. That's going to be our next series. It is going to be a TVZ here between ByuN and SHIN. They're going to be facing off in another best of 5. Of course, we do have the lower portion of the bracket also going to be unfolding after our initial matches. We'll get there. We'll get there. But now we have our TVZ, and game 1 is going to be on torches. Let's go. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of torches, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Shopify. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player, the red Zerg player himself, the South Korean Zerg representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is SHIN. We go, and ByuN doing ByuN things, opening up with what looks to be Turax Reaper. Okay, so we have the low ground set up here out of ByuN. Meanwhile, SHIN opening up with a pool first opener. Okay, so we're mixing things up already here. This is why I appreciate SHIN, I mean ByuN as well. They're both very unique, very stylistic players, not necessarily the most standard or meta players out there. So SHIN, earlier pool. I mean, welcome one and all to to Torches. Torches is a very cheesy map in the map pool. Hyper aggression is favored here. SHIN, he does not mine through the mineral patches. He does not rush into the center goal base. That's more common against Protoss. Here, SHIN does open up pool into hatchery, and we're going for a gasless opener. Okay, bold move here by SHIN as he's mining through, and he is expanding towards ByuN. So these gasless openers are viable on maps like Torches. Why is that? When you open up gasless like this, link speed is heavily delayed. So typically you'd be vulnerable against Hellion run-bys and Hellion dives. But that won't be the case here because there's a ramp coming into the natural. You can easily wall up and wall off and secure yourself on 3 bases against Hellion aggression. Now, on one hand, that is true. On the other hand, it's Turax Reaper. So ByuN, he's going to have Mass Reaper early on, but specifically on this map is less maneuverable here. Like, there's no way to get into the main base unless you go through the natural. So Reaper cliffs are quite limited on this map, so it's a little bit surprising to see ByuN go Turax Reaper on Torches. There's that third base. And again, the reason why you can afford a fast third is because gasless, right? There's no gas. No gas, no money being wasted on gas, no drones wasting their time mining gas either. Reaper does move in and does confirm the build. Yeah, he does confirm. Does see the timing of the hatchery, does confirm that it is later. He also saw, he has yet to confirm the missing patches. As SHIN is waiting for the Reaper. Reapers do poke in. SHIN is building up his queens. And this is denying mining at the natural, true. It is denying some mining. Third Reaper has arrived. With the third Reaper arriving, Lings, they do try to hit the natural. I thought there was going to be Marine. No Marine to defend. Nice moves here by SHIN. And it's just so far away here to pull the boys to repair. Deeper taking a lot of hits, taking a lot of damage, but the repairs, it looks like it might just be in time. Oh, it's going to be close. Oh, ooh, barely in time. Whew. And ByuN holds. Yeah, ByuN holds. He races back home to defend. And with that, SHIN now gets away with saturating. He gets away with his gasless opener. And as we mentioned, the strength of this build, I say the strength, maps that you're able to get away with this on are maps like this, where you can't harass this center base, sorry, this third base. Like, how does ByuN get here? He doesn't without mining through his own patches, which takes time. It takes time to open up this area, it takes time to knock down these rocks, so this base is safe against Hellion harass and Hellion run-bys. Likewise, Queens, they have to focus their defenses here, and we are walling up the ramp. So we're walling up, we're walling off. We're also skipping link speed, going straight into roach production. Now from here, we can turn this into a roach all-in. It would make sense on torches because of the short rush distance by ground. Otherwise, SHIN could play this out into hive tech, into ultra tech. So roaches into ultras is what SHIN is known for. So we'll see if he does drone up further than 3 bases. If he drones up further, if he gets Evo chambers and infestation pit, it does scream ultras. Otherwise, this can be a roach all-in. From the side of ByuN, he's going for a 2-on-1. Ooh, yeah, straight up 2-1-1 here. No third command center. This is hyper aggression here from ByuN. Rushing into Stim, rushing into his factory and starport. Very late third base, and this is putting a lot of pressure on ByuN to get some damage done. Okay, now what is really nice about this build that ByuN is doing, this is something that both ByuN, Maru, and some of the other Korean Terrans like to mix in after a 2x Reaper, is this is not a standard 2-on-1. Do you see something? 2-on-1s, they never have Banshees. Why do they never have Banshees? Because if you're going for a stim timing, you need medevacs, right? You need medevacs, you need drop play. So it is very common, I get scattered, never mind. But it's very common for Zerg players to blindly skip spores against 2-on-1s because there should be medevacs, not Banshees. Here, ByuN, he delays his medevac production in favor of a singular Banshee. This is designed to catch the Zerg player off guard, but SHIN scouted. SHIN scouted, he saw the move out with the Ling, his queens are in position, the spores are finishing up. We have a spore here on the way in the main, spore in the natural. These are late spores, but they're late because he never expected Banshees until he saw them. So the Banshee play, it was cheeky, has potential, didn't get away with it. Didn't quite get away with it. As now the medevacs have arrived, now ByuN can move out. Likewise, SHIN, he is getting a second Evo chamber. This should be plus on melee. Basically, the upgrade of choice here for the second Evo chamber will tell us how he wants to play this out. If it's ranged, then he's going to commit into Roach Ravager. If it's melee, then it's going to be ultras. Infestation Bit's on the way, it's already looking like ultra tech. Meanwhile, here comes the main army. Banshee does poke in. Main army from the front. No Ravagers to defend. Ooh, that's going to be a little bit awkward to deal with the tank at least. Going for range, not melee. Okay. He's going to be committing harder here to Roach Ravager, which means we could see supportive infestors. And we should see supportive infestors. So we'll keep an eye on the hive tech timing. We'll keep an eye on the infestors. Bane the nest, so it's going to be a Ling Bane Roach Ravager. Ling speed is on the way as well, so we're gearing up towards Ling Bane, and then we're going into delayed ultras, if the game goes that long. As Marines, they just stim in. A good chunk of roaches go down. Oh my god! Yeah, so many roaches do fall. Jesus. That's how many, there was 13 roaches going down. A very efficient trades here from ByuN. Thankfully, Ravagers did morph in time. Banelings is still on the horizon. Still getting there. ByuN is still rallying forward. Oh. And again, this is going to be a tough hold here. We pull the boy, let's go! If you remember, I spoke earlier how this was hyper aggressive because there was no third TC. It's just a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in, pulls the boys, gets on top of the Ravagers. At least tries to. The boys, though, they're on top of the tanks. The drones. Yeah, the drones are pulled, but the Marines, they stim in. They stim in, they break the expansion. The base goes down. ByuN is here to end the game. Both players, they both lose their mineral lines. They both lose their workers. And the pressure's on ByuN to keep going. Oh. Yeah, Sims in. Sims in, takes down 2 more roaches, takes down the Ravagers as well. 3 Ravagers go down, there's 1 Ravager left. Without Biles, how do you get on top of the tank? He's trying. He's trying, but he only has the one bile. SHIN massing on more lings. The longer this goes on, the better it is for SHIN. He's got his 1-1 upgrades. And he's trying to force friendly fire. Nice target firing out of ByuN. Yeah, the base goes down. There's one tank left. And SHIN, he is building up quite an army here. He's got more Ravagers on the way. Building up his Ravagers, building up more lings. SHIN, can he survive? Oof. The Marines getting one of the tanks. Very nice snipe. One tank goes down. There's one tank left. Again, that's the backbone of ByuN's army. Bit of friendly fire. That's a bit of friendly fire there on the ramp. Oh no, mass back. Just the one tank. ByuN, he still just cannot push through. This is where we just pull the boys for a second time. But remember, behind this, he still has an expander. Like, he's still very all in. And nice biles. He gets one. Gets another tank. Ooh, his biles the medevacs as well. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, medevac's falling with that. He's held. Yeah, SHIN, he has held. Takes down the final tank. Ooh. As he missed the final bile, actually. Yeah, did miss the bile, but regardless, he does break through. Breaks the main army. Behind this, SHIN, he's mining on 3 bases. And the all-in has failed. ByuN is trying to race back. Plus on range was the safe call to make, just because it was so Roach Ravager heavy, and he never really got to actually make use of the Infestor, the Infestation Pits, the Hive. Thankfully, of course, as he had to just spend everything on surviving against the all-in. Getting to melee upgrades would have been in preparation for a longer game, which we didn't get. Yeah, I get spotted. Yeah, it's 2 Ravagers. Nice split target firing out of ByuN. And from here, ByuN, I mean, at this point, it's too late, right? It's too late to expand, so he just throws down extra Vaxes. He's still just doubling down. The longer this goes on, the better it is for SHIN, to the point where now we have safety infestors with fungals on the way. Yeah, it's looking bleak here for ByuN. He can float over his main, of course, true. He can float over his main to keep this going. The armor supply is still in favor of ByuN, also true. As a SHIN supply is inflated. But infestors will help with that. Here comes the second wave, but we pull the boys for the second. Let's go. The boys are being pulled for a second time. Let's go. Oh, no, sorry. We're actually long distance mining. We're going for the gold. Okay. Going for the gold. Fungal connects. We're floating over to the gold base. Let's go. The fungals are brutal though. Yeah, brutal fungals. Biles. Oh, they graze the army. ByuN can keep this going with the gold. True. This is bleeding out so much. He's bleeding out a little bit too much here. Oh. Still waiting for another fungal. The infestors need a little bit more time. Oh no! Get out of here! Infestors pull away. And they land one more fungal. Nice connection out of SHIN. SHIN, he needs that link support. He can't really close the distance, not yet. Being careful, playing safe. Oh, that's an awkward rotation here for SHIN. Tries to rotate over. He's being spread a little bit thin. ByuN, he establishes the gold. Like, he's again, his army supply is still very comparable to that of SHIN. SHIN trying to open up an attack path. Ooh, bit of friendly fire. ByuN, he defends back at home. Tank. The hive is now done. Viper's now on the way. With the help of Vipers, then he can finally start to engage. Blinding clouds are going to be huge. Almost there. And again, it's impressive that ByuN has been able to stay on 2 bases for the past 15 minutes, but the gold is a big part of that, of course. Big part of that. And ByuN, he can then float over his natural. Like, his natural's about to mine out, he can float it over here behind the gold. Take another base. So we can just kind of keep floating, to be But the reality is that the quality of the army is going to be better for SHIN once the Vipers arrive. Just has to get into those Vipers. Nice time for the expansion. Hatchery goes down. Does get the base. So here we go. SHIN's moving in. There are no ghosts or no EMPs, so blinding clouds on all the tanks. Covering tanks, covering the ramps as well. Going for the mineral line, and he does get in. Oof. They're getting 10 SCVs. Tanks are falling. And SHIN just has to play it slow like this. Just poke in, take a better trade. No fungals, unfortunately. Oh! As Bylze rained down on the army. ByuN is trading very efficiently here. And it is by, but here we go, the flanking fungals. GG gets called, and SHIN, he takes game number 1. Whew, GG. GG, well played. SHIN does take a lead in the series. Again, a very intense game here. Winding it back up, ByuN, he went for a 2-Rax Reaper opener. SHIN, he went for a gasless opener instead. Very greedy. ByuN, he did, once he scouted, ByuN, he did decide to try to go for the all-in and try to punish the greed of SHIN. And SHIN, he was teching, but thankfully he wasn't overly greedy, right? He wasn't rushing into the hive. He had the infestation, wasn't rushing into the hive. He wasn't droning up too heavily either. He did go for a safety +1 range to be able to support his Roach Ravager. And of course, he was able to react in time to the all-in as ByuN just pulled the boys. He just pulled the boys on 2 bases. GG. GG, well played. SHIN did survive. And now we're getting to game number 2. Let's go. Jumping into game 2. Game 2 is going to be on Persephone. Persephone. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Persephone, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Shopify. Oh, down to the series. We'll see if we bounce back. It is ByuN. Oh, opening up. No. Hello. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Blue Zerg player. The Blue Zerg player himself representing Weibo Gaming WBG. It is SHIN. When I saw the SV moving down, I thought it was going to get the depot in the low grounds. When he left the natural, it's like, oh, that's not a depot. That's not a depot. That's 2-Rax Reaper. 2-Rax Reaper. We have 1. We have 2 SVs being sent out across the map. The Raxes are on the way. ByuN, he's committing. And we'll see if SHIN can get a read on this or once again pull first. Okay. 2 games in a row. SHIN, he's going for a gasless opener. This means earlier queen production. And this means that SHIN, he will have the tools to defend. We'll have the tools. Bearing in mind, when you go for this build, when you go for this gasless style, it means that your gases are late. That is true, but it also means that your spawning pool is early, which means your queen is early, your lings are early as well, and the overlord is poised to confirm, poised to scout. Yeah, it's very common to check outside of your natural with your second overlord. The first one moves out across the map. The second one does fan out outside of the main, and the overlord will confirm everything. Pool is done. No link production though. Ooh, yeah, no link production. That is on SHIN. SHIN, despite going pool first, he does make the queen. He chose to drone. He chose not to get lings. He chose to get an earlier gas geyser. And now he realized what's been happening. So link production is delayed, more so than usual, more so than it should be, I should say, with this build. But he's going into a faster roach one because of the faster pool. SHIN does dance here with the units. He shouldn't be able to deny this bunker. Bunker is going to get up and running. Bunker will complete, but what's important here is the roach counterattack. That's what SHIN is kind of building up towards. Getting a second gas geyser. Roaches are on the way. And we'll see if SHIN can break out. I believe SHIN should lose the hatchery, but he's going to try to fight for it. Ooh, gets a marine. Gets 1, gets 2. Gets 2 marines. He's going to try to cancel production, and he will. Very nice moves here by SHIN. He gets past the bunker. Again, the hatchery will fall. We have a tented no shot. Because of 3 racks, this is an all-in. Like, this is not just a proxy, this is an all-in. SHIN, he does get eyes on the add-on. Base goes down. Also, Este Diva. Ay, ay, ay. Marauder will help with this, so for the most part, SHIN, he should shut this down. Here come the Wiles. Here come the Wiles. Oof. Gets another marine. Really nice target firing. We'll lose a roach or 2, but he shuts it down completely here. He's running back the marines, killing the SCVs. I mean, the Marauders still make this terrifying, especially with concussive shell. That means that ByuN can catch out some of these stray roaches. So SHIN has to be very careful here. And he will lose one roach. Lings are coming to reinforce. It's a handful of Marines. Yeah, Marines are going down. Dives on top of the Marauders. Will lose the Ravager, but he gets both Marauders, and he will completely shut this down. GG gets called, and SHIN will take a 2-0 lead in the series. Whew, GG. Take that to a lead here. Again, a very all-in build here by ByuN, going for a proxy 3 ranks, not a proxy 2 ranks, very committed, and SHIN thankfully went pool first. He went for a pool first opener, so at the beginning of the game, the builds did align in favor of SHIN. With a pool first, that means earlier Queen, earlier Lings, which he didn't really make use of too many early Lings, but he did have the earlier Roach Warren, so earlier Roach production. When it came to the execution of the defense, it was really impressive to see him focus on the Marines, rush past the bunker, catch reinforcements as well, and eventually break out. It's a very impressive defense there. And again, just really fortunate for SHIN that he happened to be going pool first, both game 1 and game 2. And that leads into game number 3. We're going to be loading into Ultra Love. Let's go. Let us go. Loading into Ultra Love here, the 3rd game, potentially the final game of the series, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. The pressure is on. He's down 0-2. Can he bounce back? Can he make a series out of this? Representing Shopify, it is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Blue Zerg, representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is SHIN. He's one game away from claiming this. Meanwhile, ByuN opening up 2-Rax Reaper. So once again, he's setting up on the high ground, 2-Rax Reaper out of ByuN. SHIN, once again, going pool first. So same build every game out of SHIN, which is what we expect. SHIN, he is known for going for roaches into, I mean, I keep saying roaches into Ultra Tech, but because of how game 1 and game 2 have transpired, like, he's never gotten there. It's been ByuN being hyper aggressive and not really allowing SHIN to get to his final form, which of course is by design. And we're expecting something similar here, with SHIN opening up Roach and with ByuN being hyper aggressive, potentially 2-base all in again. Also, my apologies, I assume this is going to be 2-Rax Reaper. It's a Rax expand, and it's going to be the low ground production. Oh boy. Okay, this is risky. When SHIN sees this, and he will see this with the first Overlord, SHIN will have the option to all in. So it's going to be a bit of a brutal start here. Especially because ByuN, no scouting. No SCV scout, no Reaper scout. Now, ByuN can assume it's going to be pool first. True. It's been pool first every game so far, so we can just assume that's happening again. But ByuN has no confirmation. Now, the reason why SHIN has the option to go for an all-in as SHIN goes up the ramp and he will confirm the production is because unlike a standard game, when you go for a standard game, your Rax is in the main base, your factory is in the main, and what this means is that if an all-in hits your natural, as the defending Terran player, you can pull the boys away. You can evacuate the natural, you can lift your buildings, and you can defend at the ramp with a bunker. Unfortunately, here, with this specific setup, yep, Roach Warren's on the way. With this specific setup, you don't have that option because your production is also at the natural, so you are committed to protecting your natural base, whereas in a standard game, you wouldn't be. In a standard game, you just give it up. You just give it up and defend your main. Here, he doesn't have the option. So this is going to be a worse position for ByuN if SHIN were to go for an all-in. Overlord scouts, Roach Warren gets thrown down, SHIN, he's going for a Roach Bush. Which is the correct call, right? It's the correct call to make because the production is so exposed. The reason why ByuN would go for this is that this is greedier, right? This is a very greedy build from ByuN. No SCV scouts, so extra mining from the Terran player. No Reaper, so preserve gas to go for a more efficient follow-up here, rushing into a 3rd CC. This is hyper greed out of ByuN. Oh god. There's so much greed and there's zero scouting information. He sees nothing. ByuN, he sees nothing, and here comes the all-in. Roaches are rallying across the map. We're going into burrow as well, so basically SHIN, he's gonna have like a blink micro with his units. Whenever a roach gets low, he can just burrow and save it. Oh boy. Now, to be fair, behind this he pulls out a gas and he's droning. I would have assumed he would have just pulled out a gas and made Lings and just gone for a Ling Flood follow-up. So SHIN, he's not too dedicated. This is now going to be pressure, but yeah, just I mean, there is nothing to defend. we spoke about the green. GG gets called, and with that, SHIN will take the series 3-0. God damn it, ByuN. GG, well played. Once again, everything just lined up. But I say everything lined up, of course, SHIN, he made the decision after seeing the build of choice, right? Like, just a really greedy build out of ByuN. And because SHIN went pool first, he had the option to go for an earlier Roach Warren. And ByuN just never scouted. Zero scouting, zero information. GG. SHIN will take the 3-0. ByuN is out of LiuLi Cup. Whew. Ay. Really fast series. I mean, game one was long, true. Game one was like a very long it was like a 20-minute two-base all-in out of ByuN. But GG, well played. With that, SHIN, he will take the 3-0, and we have our first half wrapped up. Creator takes down Percival, SHIN takes down ByuN, and we have Creator versus SHIN in the semifinals of LiuLi Cup number 46. And we are here to determine who else will join them in the semifinals. We still have 2 series left. We have Rogue versus herO in a best of 5, and we have a Classic versus Clem also in a best of 5. Oh. Completely missed that. Did ByuN only have Hellions? He had 2 Hellions. He had 2 Hellions and 2 Marines. He had no bunker. If you missed out on the build, he went for the low ground at Rax and Factory. We were alluding to what was about to happen from the beginning, because we were saying that specifically with this build against Roach-based play, you're even worse off just because all your production is at the natural as opposed to in the main base, so you cannot make a defense, or you're forced to try to hold on to your natural, and there's so much more on the line there. And yeah, GG, well played. But with that, we are going to be going on a break. With that, we're going to be going on a break, and when we come back, we will have the second half of the broadcast. We'll be live with Rogue and herO. So we'll see you soon. See you soon after the break. Gonna make sure the bunnies are okay. We can see them, to be fair, but I'm gonna go and turn on the power bank to make sure the camera stays online. We'll see you soon after the break. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the quarterfinals, to day one of the LiuLi Cup number 46. We just wrapped up with our first two series of the broadcast, and we have two best of fives remaining. We are halfway through the show here. Up next, we have a PvZ between herO and Rogue. Let's go. These two, they do face off quite often, of course, as Rogue is one of the other regulars when it comes to online tournament play in the Open Cups. We've seen these two face off in recent times, and we'll see if we're able to have a different outcome. You'll see how they do adapt and evolve over time, as they do often and rarely play against each other. Let's go. Let us go. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Maganatha, we have the South Green Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss for T1. It is herO. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player. For Team Falcons, it is Rogue. We go. Look at these two last face-off last week during the Wardy TV Monday, where Rogue was able to barely clutch out a win over Classic, and then had a very fast series against herO. herO, he is a much more aggressive player here. He thrives so much more in the mid-game. I'm not saying he cannot play late game. He can, of course, especially on some of these maps like Maganatha, like Incorporeal, like Tokamak. I expect to see herO playing out a more macro-oriented game, but if he sees a window, if he sees an opportunity, he'll be very much so in your face. He'll be in your face, he'll go for an early blink timing, he'll go for early Twilight Council. He can be in your face and get damage done early on and just snowball from there. Oh boy. So we'll see how Rogue does adjust. Rogue himself has been finding himself in this matchup in ZVP. Last year, of course, it was a time where Rogue, every single game, he would just rush into lurkers and try to rush into tech and slow the game down. That was, of course, in 2024, though. Coming into this year, Rogue has been going for more all-ins. We've been seeing a lot more 3-base all-ins out of Rogue. I say out of Rogue, we've been seeing a lot of 3-base all-ins out of Zerg players, period. In general, we've been seeing just a lot more aggressive builds and aggressive play. I will say, though, coming into the latest patch, that play is weaker in ZVP. In ZVP, all-ins, they do feel weaker because of the change to Storm. Storm is a much more powerful zoning tool, and it does allow for easier defensive play on 3 and 4 bases. Now, I will add a caveat to that, because I believe we have also been seeing an uptick of Ling Bane aggression. Now, Ling Bane aggression hits a little bit different because of the change to Storm. Now, what do I mean by that? The Baneling has extra HP. And before the hotfix, Banelings were surviving storms as they were running through them, I should emphasize, to be able to collapse on the army. So with the Banelings added HP, with the storm doing less damage, and for the DPS to be a little bit slower, the DPS rates being a little bit slower on the storm, Banelings were actually surviving and making it through and actually impacting some of these fights. Now, after the hotfix, with the storm damage being lowered even further, I do believe that Ling Bane, specifically the Baneling, does have more HP making it through, is a little bit more viable here against Protoss in ZVP. Now, I say a little bit more viable. For me, it's still theoretical. I've still seen Zerg players struggle to all-in with Ling Bane Hydra and struggle to break defensive Protoss players. It is still stronger than it once was, the Baneling, I mean, in this matchup, but isn't enough to break herO. We'll see. We'll see if Rogue does go for an all-in. We'll see if herO does go for Storm. Oh, hello. That's not what I was expecting. So Stargate opener, not into Oracle, but into Void Ray. Okay, let's go. Void Ray opener out of herO. Does open with a Void Ray. We'll be able to hunt down these Overlords, deny vision, and that means that herO can hide some tech. This can be early Twilight Council into Glaive Adepts. This could be second Stargate into Fleet Beacon, into Tempest Rush. This could be something more sinister here. We'll keep an eye on herO. Third base is being taken. Overlord is about to be hunted down. We'll see what tech he goes for from here. Where we headed? Where we dropping? Or what are we dropping? And that is an early Twilight Council, okay. So early Twilight Council, you can see here he's hunting for Overlords. The Overlord is here on the right-hand side. herO has yet to confirm. Twilight Council into Forge. This looks like +1 and Blink. Technically, this could be charge. This could be an earlier charge timing. But leaning more towards Blink, leaning more towards something more standard. We'll see. As the Overlord does get eyes on additional gateways. Getting up to 3. There it is, early charge. Okay, so early charge timing out of here. That was one of the possibilities. Now we see why he went for the Void Ray. Now we see why he's trying to deny vision. Now, specifically, this build is designed to punish players that skip their Roach One. If we were to see Ling Hydra out of Rogue, then herO could just overwhelm. Thankfully, Rogue is getting a safety Roach Horn, partially because he saw the gateways and he confirmed. Yeah, he confirmed the gateways, the Twilight Council. So Rogue, he should be pumping out safety roaches. Should be. So we have more gates on the way. We even have safety spine crawlers for Rogue. Secure himself even further. Ooh, this is a bold move. This isn't just defensive roaches. We have Overlord speed on the way. Okay. This is indicative of a counterattack. This means that Rogue, he's cutting workers. He's cutting workers. He wants to defend. He wants to shut down the aggression and then turn this defense into an all-in. So it's going to be a Ling, Roach, Queen all-in. Bit of a German taxi. Again, seeing Overlord speed was the tell. And of course, lack of journey. He goes off, catches the Queen. herO, he's been building up more Zealots. But Zealots, they are not ideal defensively against all-ins. Not like this. Lings, they hit the 3rd. Nothing to defend. We're going for the base trade. Okay, let's go. So Rogue, he's going to break down the 3rd. And meanwhile, herO, he's going across the map to catch reinforcements and to ideally break down the natural. So they do bust in. At the same time, Queens have dropped. They're getting on top of the Void Ray, and the Void Ray will go down as it barely pulls away in time. And Void Ray pulls away. Queens, they're on the chase. Probes, they evacuate. The 3rd base is forfeit. 3rd base is going to fall at the same time. Zelsa bust into the mineral line. They get across the map into the 3rd base of Rogue. But is this enough? Okay, he's going to kill everything. The Zelsa just pop up. They kill everything, but can herO defend? Can he survive? Again, Blink is heavily delayed. Cannons are finishing. Nice force field. They're making it awkward. A lot of wasted DPS here from the Roaches and Ravagers. Yeah, they cannot engage. Shield batteries are finishing. Queen goes down. Yeah, Brutal Snipe takes down the Queen, takes down the Tumors. That's going to be 25 drone kills. And the Roaches are still in the main, by the way. They're still popping off. Oh, God. 29 drones, and herO, he defends. herO, he defends. He cleans us up. Blink is almost done. We're going for the warp in. The armor was never reinforced. And Rogue, he's running out of steam. He failed to kill the base. He's now going for it. Can he kill the Bile? Oh my God. He doesn't. Even with the Bile, he fails to kill the 3rd base. GG, and herO, he will take game number 1. GG. Ooh, a very chaotic game 1 here with a herO rushing into charge. Rogue was aware, which is why Rogue did decide to go for his own all-in, his own counter all-in, but it was a little bit unfortunate. Rogue, I'm sure, was hoping that herO would use everything to defend. I want to say that if the Zealots stayed at home to defend, Rogue could have pulled this off, because again, he had a superior army when it comes to bringing down or shutting down the Zealots and getting on top of the 3rd base and breaking the 3rd as well. If herO had committed into a 3rd base defense, I think that would have killed him, but herO didn't. What did he do instead? He went for the counterattack. He defended with the bare minimum at the natural, pulled off the counterattack, and he crippled Rogue back at home, and Rogue just could not defend. He chose not to turn back around. He chose to commit to the push, and he suffered because of it. GG. GG, well played. And again, really good decision making here out of herO, as in the face of the all-in, he chose not to turn around. And with that, we are now getting into game number 2. herO on T1, nice. Yes, herO, he joined T1, like 3 weeks ago? 3? It's maybe been a month, maybe. But if you remember, he joined he joined T1 in the lead up to Maestros of the Game, which was the big events in France. The big event in France, which was like 2 to 3 weeks ago. There we go. Here we go. We're getting into our next game, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tokamak, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing T1. It is herO. We of course speak on the potential ramifications of a Korean team stepping back into the ring in SE2. We spoke about that during the podcast when initially this was announced. But spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Here we go. As Rogue is forcing the unnatural natural, and herO getting into a standard opener himself. Now we're going to Tokamak. Tokamak is the most defensive map in the map pool, very large as well, so we do often see longer and later games on Tokamak. Not saying that all-ins don't work on this map, they do. All-ins, they do work, but they're less effective. They're more difficult to pull off, so we are expecting to see more greed and more of a tech-heavy play out of our two players, or at least out of Rogue. herO, of course, does have the option to be aggressive again. Last game, he went into an early charge timing. We could see early blink play here. I wouldn't be, would I be opposed to an 8-gate blink build? Or would I be opposed to early Twilight Council delayed Forge into blink aggression? I don't think it's too effective here on Tokamak. We'll see. We'll see where he takes us after the Stargate, assuming that we open Stargate. Assuming. Spying on the buddies. I do appreciate someone was mentioning earlier how currently it is quite hot in Australia. True, we're getting into summer. In Australia, so the heat is rising. But the bunnies, they're good. It's nice and chilly up here. Thankfully, it's a relatively cool room that they're in. Like, there's no AC or anything going on, but it's still relatively cool. Nice ventilation. So they're okay. They get their water as well. They're agüita. As herO does open up Stargate. To be expected. So Stargate open out of herO. Does open Stargate. This time opening up Oracle. There's no Void Ray shenanigans this time. None of that. Likewise, Rogue is freely droning, saturating. The Adept is being annoying and does get some value. Kills 4 Lings so far. Nicely done. It all does add up over time. So gets a handful of Zerglings, pulls away. Likewise, more Oracles being sent out. And it's going to be up to Rogue to keep up with this aggression. Does shade into the middle line. He's going for it. Yeah, does go for the boys. So far, 3, not quite 4 drones going down. Yeah, Adepts are going to be shut down here. So 3 drone kills. It's okay damage, bearing in mind that Adepts, they killed 6 Lings and 3 drones. Good trade here for herO. Oracle does pull back, and so far, there's no early tech. Base is on the way. There's no early Twilight Council, no early Forge. Looks like a standard game, a standard follow-up. So after a chaotic game 1, we're calming things down here in game 2, which makes sense because we're on Tokamak. It is to be expected on Tokamak. Rogue, he does bait out both pulsar beams. Nicely done. Baits out the beams, pulls away. Here comes that Twilight Council on the Forge, but again, this timing is later than last game. Last game, it was thrown down as the third base was starting. Here, it's thrown down as the third base is finishing. So this should be pulse on and blink, not charge. Adepts, they do shade into the natural. Lings are out of position. And damage is being done. Mining is being denied. No target firing on the drones. But denies mining nonetheless. Ooh, as Adepts, they shade into the main. That shouldn't have happened. 4 up to 5 drones. 5 drones going down. Another station trap in the middle line, catching out 3 drones. And this is getting out of hand. This is getting out of hand here. Looking at the use lost tab here, 9 drone kills, 12 links as well for 5 adepts. Bearing in mind that these adepts, they were built early on in the game, as you typically do to survive and to defend early on. Ideally, you want to get rid of them, and he trades. He does trade them out. Here being very efficient with his units and following up with +1 and blink with that mid game. So coming into the mid game, Hero is in a better position. Rogue has been struggling to maintain his economy. Behind this, getting to his Evo Chamber, +1 melee, into Lair, into Ling Hydra should be the tech of choice. That is a standard follow-up. This time, Rogue is skipping Roaches, which is the go-to. Oracles are going for the run by, they get 3 more drones. The Oracles are getting very low. Oh no! Ooh, and 1 Oracle does go down. Big overextension. 1 Oracle for 5 drones. Not ideal for Hero. Pulls out, he pulls away. And again, here he's going to be stuck at home at least until Blink finishes. Once Blink kicks in, he can start being active, or we can just be defensive and turtle up. So here it's going to be up to him, his choice. Second Forge is on the way. Interesting. So going for double Forge, double upgrades. He's choosing not to tech up yet. At the same time, Rogue going for the Spire. I assumed it was going to be Ling Hydra, but no, it's going to be Ling Bane Muta. This is very risky. This is very risky here. So far, checking here his vision. He has not scouted. He has not confirmed. But Hero is going for a very gateway heavy style. From here, he could have gone into splash damage, but no. He's building on more Stalkers, getting into Zealots, going for a 1-1. And Rogue is vulnerable. There's a window in time before the mutas really come online. Rogue is pulling away. Does zone back those Stalkers. Master Relation on the Lings. Now, seeing all these Lings is a little bit suspicious here. Hero should be wondering to himself, what are you spending your gas on? Are you rushing into Ultras, right? Are you rushing into Hive, rushing into Ultras? Are you going into Mutas? Are you going into Lurker Tech? Like, where is the gas being spent? Hero has to be wondering this. We can see, we know it's 10 Mutas. 10 Mutas on the way. Here he's getting into his own Archons. I do worry about the main push. I feel like once we warp in enough Archons, I don't think Hero can be stopped. Ling Bane Muta is very, very vulnerable here to a more charged Archon Stalker composition. Hero is pushing out. Behind this, Skytoss is on the way. Hero is on 4 bases. His goal here is to turtle up into Skytoss. As he applies pressure, he'll see that there's not really much to defend. Yeah, Mutas, they move out. They move out across the map. Lings try to engage. Ooh, Zealous do take some bait to the face. Yeah, to the face. There's a recall back home. Mutas so far, they get 7 probe kills, not bad. 7, 8, 9 probes going down. They get into the main base mineral line. But at the same time, bases are going down across the map. Ooh, and Mutas, they cannot fight this head on. Oh my god. So many Mutas go down. Gets 14 probes though. 14 probes, but this army is not being stopped. Yeah, there's nothing to defend. Lings is trying to collapse in. GG gets called. The main army cannot be stopped, and Hero takes game number 2. GG. Whew, GG, well played. As we mentioned, rushing into mutas like this, it is so risky because you are vulnerable. You are so vulnerable. There's a massive window in time where you don't have anything to defend. You have some Ling Bane, that's nice. That means nothing in the face of a couple of Archons. And there were, what, 2-3 Archons, the Mass Stalker as well. The Ling Bane army crumbled before the gateway composition of Hero, and the mutas, sure, they were killing probes. They got like 14, right? They got like 14 probes across the map. That's nice. but he was losing bases and losing his army, right? He was losing everything else back at home. So GG. GG, well played. herO does take a 2-0 lead. And with that, we're getting into game number 3. An instance, a scenario where metas like this can work is if herO was being very tech heavy. If herO didn't go double forge, if herO was going into Temple Archives, into a Bay, into Colossus production, into his 4th base, if herO was being more defensive, then we could see those mutas keep him busy at home while Rogue drones, while he techs up into Hive Tech. But the problem is that, if you recall, herO, he was going for a gateway explosion, he was going for a 1-1 timing, he was being much more assertive, despite not really knowing what was going on. That's herO though. Like herO, he's typically more aggressive, more so than like some of the other Protosses like Max Packs or like Classic. So it is very risky going muta, especially against herO. Didn't get away with it. And here we go. Spawning in the right hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player, himself. For Team Falcons, it is Rogue. Here we go. Rogue really seems pathetic versus Assault these days. If you haven't been watching StarCraft for the past like year, then you might not be familiar. Just be careful with that, as when it comes to like Zergs being forced to like be hyper aggressive and all in and be cheeky against Protoss. That has been the case for the past like 12 months, maybe even actually longer than that. No, yeah, around like 12 months. Because last year there was the meta of like being very tech heavy. Like that was in the previous map pool, the previous 2 map pools. So there was a meta where like there was some Zerg players or like rushing tech and rushing. I spoke about it earlier. Like Rogue did have a style last year where he was rushing into lurkers and rushing into a more tech heavy style. But this year has been all about just all ins. But here we go, getting into game number 3. Yeah, it's just it's important not to insinuate that it's anything recent or like related to this patch. It's something that like some people have been like bringing up as well. Like for example, the Protoss thing. Not saying it's a good thing, but like a Protoss being dominant, especially when it comes to like online tournaments or just tournaments in general that don't involve like Serral, specifically Serral. It's like people are bringing that up now, but that's been the case for like 5 years, unfortunately. If you remember back like in 2020, the meme was ESL Protoss Cup instead of the ESL Open Cups because it was just dominated by Protoss then as well. Like it's unfortunately it's been like a thing for the past 5 years. But people are just only now noticing it. Not saying it's a good thing, it's just saying that unfortunately it's been the reality for a long time. But here we go. Here we go. We are getting into game number 3. And so far, it is going to be a Stargate opener. Stargate opener here from herO. Once again, so Stargate opener into a 3rd base is kind of what we're expecting here. Likewise, Rogue going for his 3rd, going for so far a standard opener as well. First to look forward, my head doesn't bend the other way. Oh no, baby, oh no. Cuidado, baby, cuidado. But welcome all to Ley Lines. Also, I should also emphasize as well, when it came to the previous game and Rogue's decision to go into Mutaplay, it does make sense on Tokamak as well. If you remember, we were talking a lot about how Tokamak is known for longer in later games. So Rogue's assumption, and it was an assumption, was he was hoping that a hero would be more tech heavy, would be more defensive, and would be taking and turtling up into Sky Toss and would be less aggressive. That was the hope, at least, specifically on Tokamak. Here on Ley Lines, we do not expect Mutaplay. Like, you can get away with mutas on Tokamak, on Maganatha, on these larger maps, hoping that your Protoss opponent is being more defensive and tech heavy. Here we expect more aggression out of hero. It's more expected on Ley Lines, I should emphasize. As we have our third base into Twilight Council and Forge. If you notice, this is going to be an earlier Twilight Council and Forge timing. This is earlier than last game, so this is going to be an earlier upgrade timing. Overlord will confirm. Which means this could be +1 in charge. Doesn't have to be, but there's the option. We'll see if it's going to be Blink or Charge. Oracle's AFK in. 5 drone kills so far. And we do have the tech of choice, +1 and Blink. So +1 and Blink Stalkers. Meanwhile, we're going Lair first out of Rogue. Interesting. Going Lair first does get a safety Roach Warren just in case. Remember, last game we skipped Roaches entirely. This time we're playing safe. So Roaches are on the way. Lair as well. With this, we can go into a Roach heavy composition. Technically, this can turn into a 3-base Roach all-in with like a German taxi. Technically. So we'll see if Road cuts workers. Was the 4th base is delayed. Nice pick off at a hero. It's going to be 2 drone kills so far. Again, delaying the 4th. Behind this, Rogue is getting up to 3-base saturation. 3-base saturation is going to be 66 workers, 66, and he's droning up further. Okay, here we go. Hydroden is on the way. Gases are being taken as well. Rogue is building up into a longer game for the first time this series. For the first time, we're building up, we're taking up into a longer game. Let's go. Game 1, of course, Rogue, he went for a German Taxi Roach Queen all-in. That was on Maganatha. Game 2, he tried to rush into mutas. Game 3, we're droning. We're going Roach Hydra. Now, as we're droning up the 4th base, the big power spike here for Rogue is going to be Lurker Tech. Here comes the Infestation Pit. We're still working on it. So Infestation Pit into Hive Tech into Lurkers. We're still a ways away. We'll see if Rogue can get there. Because what's going to hit first? Storm. Storm is finishing up. And here he should be pushing first to try to break the 4th. And we'll see if Rogue can survive until Lurkers. It's not easy to play this style. To play this more tech-heavy style from the Zerg. So we'll see if we can get into it. As the High Templar, they're gathering energy. They're building up. Once they're ready, then Hero can start pushing. Oh, never mind. You see what I see? Second Stargate, Fleet Beacon, Hero, he's not pushing. He's not pushing. He's not warping in. He's going to be skipping warp-ins, and we are rushing into Sky Toss. So Hero is going to be defending. He's going to be turtling up. He's going to be defending here on 4 bases. If you remember, this is what Rogue wanted Hero to do last game. It's all kind of like coming full circle. But this is the style that Rogue wanted at a Hero on Tokamak. Didn't give it to him then. He's doing it here instead. Which happens to be the game where Rogue is taking. Which means Hero should get away with this. Hero, he should be able to get away with Sky Toss, just because Rogue is spending resources on drones and on tech, not on building into a strong timing attack. So Hero, he should be secure. And I do favor Hero coming into this kind of game state. Tempest production has begun, and it's going to be very difficult for Rogue to try to break Hero before Sky Toss. To the point where I don't think he can at this point. Yeah, we're still droning. Hive is still on the way. Nidustorm as well. Building up Nidustorms, taking more bases. And essentially, we're kind of like rushing into the late game. We're rushing into the end game here. But Hero is getting there a little bit faster. He's getting there in a better position. Meanwhile, Rogi's catching up. With what? Spire. He has to get the Spire. He needs Corruptor upgrades, so +1 Flyer attack, +1 Flyer carapace. Spellcasters, Vipers, Infestors, Corruptors. Rogi has a ways to go. Here he's making his 3 Tempest at a time. A second Cybercore for double Skytoss upgrades. And again, this is where last game, like, Mutas would have already hit the field. They'd be like poking, bouncing between bases, getting economic damage, baiting out storms. Like, this is what Rogue wanted last game. And then it can be building up into like into Skyzerg, into Corruptors, and Broodlord. Regardless, Rogi does rotate. He's rotating, he's looking for a way in. It's, again, not easy to break a defending Protoss here. Not easy. Especially with the new Storm. As you mentioned before in the lead up to this series, with the new Storm, it is a more powerful zoning tool, and it does mean that turtling up like this is easier on this patch compared to the previous patch. So it is an easier defense here for herO. Or stronger defense, maybe that's a better way of putting it. Stronger defense. We spoke about the one caveat when it comes to the new Storm is that Banelings are going to be able to survive it, to be able to break through an all-in, but there's no Link Bane all-in. So that's a non-factor. Rogue is getting his Ultra Cavern. Again, we're still taking, so Ultra Cavern, second Spire, double air upgrades. Rogue, he's got a decent economy. He's got 95 drones. His tech is still getting there. And herO is perfecting his army. So what do we have so far? We have 4 Tempests, we have 3 Carriers, 9 Hitechis, 9 Templar, plenty of Storms. Ooh, and hero's getting a 5th. Rogue cannot let this get up and running. Now, thankfully, Rogue's crease spread is really solid. I do really appreciate the crease spread here. It's very impressive. He's encroaching on the bases, and he needs to apply pressure to this 5th. He cannot allow herO to build up a bank. Oh, Brutal Storm. Oh my god. Storms, they shut down the Lings. We got more cannons on the way. And herO's main army is at the 5th base. Again, this is like the critical moment here for herO. Can he hold on to, can he saturate the 5th expansion? Here he comes Rogue. Collapsing in. He does move forward. Where are the Storms? Storms, they zone away the Lings. They get on top of the Hydras. Oh, brutal connections. Yeah, Hydra's going to be going down. Corruptors, they go for the dive. And they get 1 Tempest. Oh, they run into Carrier though, and he's going to be shut down. Yeah, the Corruptors are going to fall. Mass Storms catching out the rest of the Skyzerg, the rest of the Corruptors, the Blanket Storms, but hey, he does force a cancel. Does cancel the 5th. But herO's maxed out. Now, thankfully, herO has no Storm. You could argue he was a little bit trigger happy with those Storms. A little bit trigger happy. If he held on to the Storms, herO could be pushing right now. He could just be pushing, but he has to wait for the Storms to recharge. Wait for the energy to regenerate. And herO, he has a very low Tempest count. Ooh. Only 2 Tempests. He's going into Mass Carrier. This is a bit of a pitfall that you can get into with Protoss. Carrier, this kind of composition can work really well against Hydra Lurker, 100%. Like against Hydra Lurker ground armies, like Carriers can do really well. But once we get into a higher Lurker count, and more importantly, Corruptor Broodlord, that's when Tempests do reign supreme. Do we have a Greater Spire? Am I crazy? We do. Okay, there is a Greater Spire. Now, to be fair, Rogue doesn't have any Broodlords. He has Corruptors, yes, but no Broodlords for the time being, so it isn't as important for herO to get Tempest. But eventually he wants to get out of, like, the Mass Carrier. You don't want to be stuck on Mass Carrier by the time your opponent gets into Mass Broodlord. Or Corrupted Broodlord. But here he defends well, and here, hey, he does establish his fifth. His fifth base is getting up and running here in the center of the map. How many does he have? 9. Jeez. He's got 9 carriers. Yo, we're gonna see my Cripple Shroud. My Cripple Shroud is on the way. It's not gonna be too effective against 7 High Templar, but it'll be there. Hero pushing to the center. Lings a time to run by. Hero's maxed out, he kind of warp in. Oh, here's pushing. Yeah, here is just pushing forward. Once again, not the most efficient army here for Hero because of the mass carrier. So as he attacks, he's bleeding out minerals. Here come the storms. Yeah, blanket storms here on the side defense. Oof, one Templar goes down. Corruptors are going for the dive. Yeah, it does dive in. Not many Archons. Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, there's plenty of Archons. The Archons, they come in from the left-hand side. The Archons, they clean up the Skyzerg. They clean up the Corruptors. Corruptors going to be zoned away. They do clean up most of the carriers, at least. Carriers did go down. And now Hero, he's switching in Massive Void Ray. Oh, no Flea Beacon. Okay. Flea Beacon was sniped. He cannot make Tempest. Void Rays are on the way instead. Void Rays are actually okay against Ultras. I just realized we have Ultras in production instead. Void Rays, they're not ideal, but they're okay. They're okay. Hero's rebuilding. Establishing a 6th expansion. Oof. Okay, only 2 Tempests. Oh, they get left idle. Losing one, losing both Tempest. Oh, not just the one. Tempest goes down. This is a very kitchen sink kind of army here for Hero. Just because of the Void Rays. But he needs Immortals, he needs Tempest. As the base barely survives. There we go, Tempest production has begun. As we mentioned before, like, carriers, they're okay, like, in the mid to late game. But after a certain point, you have to get rid of them. And we are. Like, we're getting rid of the carriers. We're going into Mass Tempest. A much more efficient army here for Hero is on the way, but it's not ready yet. Soldiers that go towards the northern base. Army's out of position. Void Rays do respond. Oh, as Roki's losing expansions as well. Things are being cleaned up. Hero does keep counterattacking. Workers, they get 19 pro kills, not bad. It's a lot of workers going down. Chaotic defense here for Hero. Getting our workers, this is where we need Tempest. Where are the Tempest? I think I would even say that Hero lost a little momentum previously because of the mass carry that he went for. He had, what, 9 carriers? Get a decent abduction, gets 1 Tempest. Just the 1, Templar gets away, Tempests are exposed! Where's the support? And they're going to be going down. Getting 1, getting 2 more Tempest. Oof. Two more Tempests go down. But we have 4 coming in to reinforce. Oh, and Hero's breaking through. Yeah, we got Mass Infestor. There's the Microbial Shroud. The storms on the Ultras. Ultras are breaking through. And the Immortals do struggle here, especially because of Microbial Shroud. Let's go. Ultras, they break through the Grand Army. At least they're trying. They traded well for themselves, but alas, the Ultras all get cleaned up. Here come the Broodlords. Goes to zone. Oh, nice control out of herO. Snipes the Vipers. Now, bearing in mind, herO's main army is still quite terrifying. Rogue doesn't really have much of a bank to work with. He's remaxing with more ultras. How many infestors does he have left? 3. That was a lot of infestors throwing down as many microbo shots as they could. But there's 3 infestors left. It was an impressive fight for Rogue. And again, thanks to microbo shroud, right? Like, it worked quite well. But what's scary here is that herO, like, the soup does lie, right? The supply does lie. herO, his army is actually quite comparable to that of Rogue. A reason why herO supply is so much lower is because of his probe count. It's a much lower probe count. There's only 3 corruptors? Oh. Rogue doesn't really have much anti-air. Okay, nice thing run by. Leaves to get across the map. The results respond. Here he's rotating, but there are no bases here. Does find 1 lurker. That's 2. Yeah, here he's out of position. There are no bases to snipe here. Yeah, big misread out of herO. Rogue gets in. Gets half a mineral line. Takes down the expansion as well. Massive pickup here for Rogue. herO, he's running out of money. He needs that base. Oh. And that's Fungal catching at the Immortal. The Immortal goes down, and there's what, 1 Immortal left. And 2 Immortals even. And no, there's not enough. Rogue, he should collapse on the army. All the Templar going down. Oh god, not the Storms. Storms doing what they can, but Rogue, he's done it. Rogue, he has done it. He has broken the main army. herO bleeding out his Sky Toss, losing everything. Oh, never mind. I say that. He does lose the Sky Toss army. Here, he's barely holding on. He's holding on with a bare minimum. What's really killing herO is the economy. Right? He has no economy. He's down to what, 26 probes. Barely an economy here. Here, he cannot afford to keep up. He cannot maintain his 5th base. And Rogue should have this. Should have this. And GG gets called. Whew, Rogue, he does take the game. He does make a series out of this. He does fight back. GG. The first non-3-0. Let's go. Again, all the last series were 3-0s all around, with SHIN versus ByuN and with Creator versus Percival, but not here. Not here. We are making a series out of this. Winding it back, as I mentioned before, I do feel like herO, he did kind of, we did call it like a pitfall earlier. He was kind of baited into going mass carrier. Like, that did slow him down quite a bit. He was stuck with an inefficient army, took a really rough fight. It was afterwards that he was now getting into mass Tempest, but again, that was after he had lost an expensive army initially, and because of that first loss, because of that first poor fight that he took, he lost the 6th base, right? He started losing expansion, started losing bases, started losing momentum, more importantly, and Rogue was able to get into that. It was still very shaky, still very back and forth, as Rogue himself didn't have the best economy either, but GG. GG, well played. Shout out to Microbial Shroud, which did come into play this game. True, did come into play. Did protect those ultras. Not just that, there was some also really nice moves out of Rogue when he sniped the Fleet Beacon, if you remember. When he sniped the Fleet Beacon, and when this was during the remax when he lost all the carriers, he was trying to remax on Tempest, but he couldn't. That was also more delayed because he had to remax with Void Rays because of the loss of the Fleet Beacon. True, that was also another big moment that did occur, thanks to the Ling run by. So that all did add up. But here we go. Here we go. We're getting into our next game. We're getting into game number 4, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Persephone, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing T1, leading the series 2-1. It is herO. I miss Chi-Chi. What? As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. Hello, Karina. They're back. They're back on cams. Ah. As for now, we are going for our initial opener. Oh, hello, Rogue. So Rogue does chase back that probe. We have our hatch gas pool, Rogue forsake the unnatural natural. Whew. And Rogue able to break herO, as herO did attempt to go into Sky Toss. There's also a lot that came into play when it came to the builds of choice as well. We did mention how Rogue was expecting herO to play that style on Tokamak, and another reason for that is because that style is more favorable on Tokamak, on Maganatha, on these larger maps. On maps like Leylines, it is weaker, as the rush distance by ground is shorter, aggression is more favored, bases are more exposed. Here on Persephone, I would say that we do often see a lot of late game. Now, the reasoning for this, as opposed to some of these other maps, is that these bases are very distinctly separated from each other. Usually maps, you expand towards your opponent. That is not the case here. There's like a massive amount of dead space in the center of Persephone. There's like a very clear distinction from your half to your opponent's half of the map, except for this one center base, right? The goal base is the one really contested expansion. They can be contested between both sides, but outside of this goal base, like every base kind of like belongs to each player. Because of that, we often do see a lot of split map scenarios on Persephone. I would say this is like a better map to try to get into late game Sky Toss on compared to Leylines. But we'll see. We'll see if herO can get there. We'll see if he even tries to get there. Mind games are a big part of the series. Already seen them in game 1 and game 2. The mind games, the styles that have been showcased. Oh no, they're gone. Oh no. Not the bunny can. They're so energetic. They just want to zoom. Just want to zoom. That's herO breaks in. Takes down the tumor, takes down the link, does pull away. And we'll see what kind of tech we can go for from here. But now, Stargate, Oracle into a third. Everything's looking normal for the time being. We'll keep an eye open for the Twilight Council timing. Again, I do feel like there's a high chance that herO plays the same style, that goes for the same kind of builds, but we'll see. herO does take his third. Oh, doesn't quite commit. Lots coming in. Nice surround here from Rogue. It takes down one of the adepts. Gets one. Takes down one, forcing back herO. And we're still waiting for the Twilight Council here. It is going to be a little bit later. There it is, Twilight Council on Forge, plus on Blink. Standard follow-up. Standard follow-up out of herO. Rogue playing it safe, does get a Roach Warren. Roach Warren into Lair, interesting. Going for a delayed Evo Chamber. So far, I'm getting deja vu. This feels like the same game from both players, as we just saw in Leylines, where Rogue is going to go Roaches into Hydras into 4-base saturation into Hive Tech, and herO plays this out, getting into Double Forge, into Storm, sorry, not Double Forge, getting into Storm and getting into eventually 4-base saturation into Sky Toss. We'll see if that tracks. Shall see. Do have our initial... Oh, never mind! That is going to be charged. An earlier timing out of herO, not Blink. So scratch all that, at least from herO's side. Meanwhile, Rogue did finish the Roach Warren. He's also going for +1 melee, not range. So mixing things up here to appreciate. Massling is on the way. Adepts force a recall. And herO's goal, typically, as we mentioned, is going to be to try to catch the Zerg player skipping out on Roaches, but he just scouted that Rogue is playing it safe. He has some nice Sim City here. We have a potential for roaches, and we are going into +1. Sorry, we're going into Spire play. Now it makes sense why we have +1 melee, not range, because they're not making roaches. The plan is to skip roach production. You have the roach warren just for show, and we're spending gas on mutas instead. So nice mind games here out of hero. Sorry, out of rogue. Nice mind games out of rogue. Now my big concern here is the charge timing. Here he's warping in quite a bit of zealots back at home, and okay, nice scout. Rogue does scout. He knows. Rogue is aware. And there is a window of opportunity where Hero can try to break Rogue before he gets into mutas. Jeez, he went into quadruple Oracle, okay. Those are in the main.
Research complete.
Hero going for the expansion. Across the map. That's a 5th Oracle? Wait, what? Okay, we went mass Oracle into +1 in charge. Interesting. Of course, very limited anti-air. Here he needs to move out soon. Yeah, Muta's already on the way. And nothing shoots up. There's no Blink Stalkers. I mean, there's potentially you can make Phoenixes. We have potentially Archons back at home. There we go. Phoenix production has begun. And Hero did notice. Did take notice something was wrong. And Roki gets away with it. For the first time. He attempted this on Tokamak, of course, but here he gets away with the mutas. Mutas are getting in. Here he fails to push. He fails to punish. And here he should be kept at home. And this means that Rogue cannot drone. He can drone up, he can saturate, he can work towards hive tech. The prison does force Rogue back home. Let's force him all the way back. Hero is pushing. Bold move. Yeah, here I don't think he has enough anti-air with this. He has a handful of Archons. His army is split. Oracles are getting called out. And leaves a collapse on the first Archon. And Phoenix they try to engage, but there are just so many mutas. There's so many mutas. Phoenix kind of gets reset. No control out of Hero. He did not kite away. And the mutas they should overwhelm this. Yeah, they take care of all the Stalkers. They take care of the Archon. And we're looking to force the ace match. We're looking to force the ace match here. As here he failed to punish Rogue. And this was just a really ill-timed move out. Gets another Archon. Another Archon goes down. Hero, he has no 4th expansion. He's basically going for a 3-base all-in. The Mass Oracle did not pay for itself. Gets another Phoenix. Another Phoenix goes down. I guess they're getting some damage. Because hey, they get a base. They get a hatchery. I believe that was 2 bases going down. Initially the 4th base. Now the 3rd. But here he should be shut down. Ooh, Roki doesn't quite catch him. There we go. As we do see here, he does take down another expansion. I mean, he's been knocking down bases. Knocking down hatcheries, time and time again. Rogue has been struggling to maintain map control. Struggling to assert his map control. But he should still be fine. He should still have the advantage. Guess how many? He has 34 meters. That's a lot of meters. Oh. Nice pick up. Takes down the expansion. Heads away, once again trying to catch out those Phoenixes. And here he's going for a second all-in. I say all-in just because he still has no 4. Like, the 4th base is still non-existent. Here he's very committed here. Now there are Corruptors. More Corruptors on the way. It's going to be the backbone of Rogue's army, at least against the Phoenixes. So that's a massive flock of mutas. And here just can't. He just still can't fight this. If he had Archons, yeah. If he had Storm, then maybe. I mean, the Max Phoenix is true. They can kite. You can try to kite. That's a kill. It's a kill, not a cancel on the 4th base. Oof. Yeah, Mutas collapse in. That's a lot of Archon shots going up for the Mutas, but still they should overwhelm. Yeah, they clean up the ground army. Mutas are trying to keep up. Mutas are turn back around. The Corruptors are being thrown away. Okay. Throws away the Corruptors. Here, he still shouldn't be able to claw his way back into this. Like, he just has too few Phoenixes. He has, what, 4? 4 Phoenixes left. He's being so annoying, though. So annoying with these Zealots. Gets into more bases, kills some more drones. It's impressive. He's doing what he can. But it just shouldn't be much more. As more Zealots are coming in, more damage is being done. Rogue keeps losing a lot of drones. But Rogue still has critical mass meter. Back at home, here getting into more Archons. Okay, if Hero can lure the army over the Archons, then maybe. Speaking of, the Archons are to engage. Rogue, he should not be here. The Archon volleys go up. Muta's going to be going down. He shuts down almost every Muta here. GG gets caught. We didn't have to go for the fight, Papi. Oh no. And Hero takes it. He baits the, he pulls it off. GG. That should not have happened. GG, well played. Rogue, he was in such a good position, Papi. He was in such a good position. I mean, the Zealots, they were doing damage, they were being very annoying, killing a lot of workers, and he does actually bait the Mutas into all the Archons. GG gets called. Every Muta goes down, and that's game. That's game then and there. Feels Rogue, man. GG, well played. We could have seen an ace match. I was almost convinced it was going to be an ace match as well. Rogue, he was shutting down the 4th base time and time again. He had a better economy. The Zealots were being very annoying, and that is on Rogue to not have a ground army to deal with those Zealots. He didn't really have enough to keep up, and the Zealots were buying a lot of time, allowing Hero to build up those Archons. But at the same time, Rogue, he also made the decision to commit when he did, to see the ground army and to go in with the Mutas. GG. GG. Rogue loses his mind and Hero wins. I mean, that looked like Rogue just being that looked like him maybe venting frustrations from the Zealots. Like the Zealot run bys were very annoying, like for 100%. Like we've all been there, right? There's like 3 Zealots in every base and more Zealots hitting more expansions as well. Like it is very frustrating to deal with. But it looked like that might have gotten to him a little bit, and he just wanted to aim. Like he just wanted to end the game. Like Rogue, in his mind, he's like, I already won. Like I already won this game. Like I'm already ahead. Like I'm already doing so much. Just die. And he died instead. Ah, no. Not like this. GG. GG, well played. Este hero. Catching caster curse. True. Kind of fair play not to attack Zealots and Oracles of Mutas because they can't fight back. Well, at the time when Zealots made it through, it's because the Mutas were focusing on the Stalkers and Archons. Like the Mutas, they were dealing with something else. Unfortunately, there was just no ground army to try to delay the Zealots or delay like the ground army either. It wasn't quite available there for Rogue. GG, well played. With that, Rogue is out of the tournament. He's out of the tournament. He gets knocked out by herO. He does an advance on in his stead. And now we're getting into the final series of the broadcast. We're going to be getting into a best of 5 between Clem and Classic. Let's go. Let us go. So I see someone in the chat. Don't be a clown, Bappy. Don't be a clown. Otherwise, just leave. This morning, in the bottom right-hand corner of Maganatha, we have the blue Terran player, the blue Terran himself. We have the French Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player. We have the South Green Protoss for Team Virtus Pro. It is a Classic. We go. Here we go. So we are getting in to our next game as we're getting into our fresh series and into our fresh best of 5. When it comes to Clem and Classic, they do often trade back and forth. Classic, you can make an argument, has the best PvT in the world. You can make that argument here. Of course, you have herO, you have MaxFax, like they are the trifecta right now when it comes to Protoss. Classic, MaxFax, and herO. They all have their own strengths and weaknesses. I think what I appreciate is that all three of them have their own unique styles. We have herO, who's a little more chaotic, who is a little more experimental with some of his play. We have Classic, who is a little bit more standard in his play, even more so than I would say MaxFax. Classic, he does often play towards the mid to late game as well. That is where Classic can thrive. And we'll see how he compares to Clem. Clem, he's also been really exploring himself in this matchup in the latest patch. We've been seeing Clem be hyper aggressive and go for a lot of all-ins. We've also seen Clem go for some more standard play as well. He has been kind of like mixing things up a little bit. Of course, he's been very vocal about this matchup as well. True. Clem has vented his frustrations. But here we go. Despite that, Clem is still like the best Terran player in the world, and he still has the best TVP in the world as well, for sure. But it has taken some time to acclimate to the latest patch. Now we are settling in. Standard openers all around. Clem going for something more economic, going for a Rax expand. Likewise, Classic going for his own gate expand into Cybercore as well. Seeing the chat, is this the finals? This is the quarterfinals. This is the final quarterfinals match. We're here in the round of 8. Round of 8. Behind this, Clem, he's going for a second Rax. Okay, so speaking of hyper aggression, Clem, he's going for a 2-1-1. If he was going for a third Rax, this would be indicative of a 2-base all-in. He's going for a starport, so this is still very aggressive. He's going for an earlier stim timing. So earlier stim timing out of Clem, going for a 2-1-1. This is a risky build to go for. It is not often seen in this matchup. It's more of a standard TVZ build. Oh, he still snipe that Stalker. Tanks are on the way. Clem is building up. And again, he's building up towards an earlier push. Now, my assumption was this was going to be a tech lab and add-on swap into Stim. No tech lab. No tech lab, no add-on swap. We're rallying out the tanks. And we might just push with the first medevac. Oh boy. Clem, he'll have the option to pull the boys. He'll have the option to pull the boys with this. Classic, he's going 2-gate blink. Oh no. This is a build that is out of favor right now. 2-gate blink is very out of meta. This was all the craze at the start of the year, but then we had the rise of 2-base all-ins. So this build, it's not seen anymore for good reason. Oh boy. This is a bold move here from Classic. Very greedy. So 2-gate blink into a third. Going for a delayed robo, delayed gases. And Clem, he will soon pull the trigger. Clem, he hasn't even scattered, by the way. He's seen nothing. Clem, he has no idea what's going on, but it's all lining up well for him. It's all lining up well. He's pushing. Here come the tanks. Here comes the ByuN. And Classic doesn't really have anything to defend. What does he have? He has 6 Stalkers, of course, but again, he has a low gateway count. He has the gateways, they're still on the way. Low gateway count because of this fast third. Very greedy build here by Classic. Clem is pushing in. He's holding onto those tanks. And he boosts. Yeah, he does boost forward. Tanks will siege. Nice control. Saves one of the tanks. It does save him. Tank ball is going off. One tank goes down, but the other does siege up. Within range of the army, within range of the third. Yeah, and so many Stalkers fall. Brutal pickoffs. With that, the third base is going to be forfeits. Classic, he fought for it and he let out so many units. Let out too much. Behind this, we have some Immortals on the way. Charges on the way as well. Still in production. Oh, the Cyclone survived. Barely survived. 2 harassing Stalkers left. And there's no saving this third. It's not going to happen. From here, Clem can just keep pushing. He can just keep pushing into the natural. There is an Immortal, though, so that has to be respected. Tank goes down, and Classic, he will survive, but at a cost. Ooh, it's Classic supply blocked. Brutal supply block. And he's backing up, he's rotating. He rotates around, a tank, oh, does not get taken out. Very nice. Oh, the pickup micro. Clem, calm down. Clem. Yeah, saves the tanks, punishes the Stalkers. Liberation has arrived, zoning away the Immortal. Ooh, tank does punish. And this is critical damage. This is already critical damage. Takes down the final Immortal. Well, the first Immortal, I should say. And behind this, Clem is expanding. Clem, he has a CC in the main base. Stim is on the way as well. He's building up into the mid game with a massive lead. Brings down the Zealots. Stim's in. Alright, Stim is done. He's got Stim, he's waiting for reinforcements, then he can just rally, and there's just no chance for Classic to save and hold on to his third. Like, it just should not happen. He's taken too many losses. The army's a little bit overstimmed, but medevacs have finally arrived. Medevacs reinforce. And Classic, he just had no room to breathe this game. Liberated to the main base. That's kiting here by Clem. Liberated does siege up. Probes are going down. Getting Classic his strategy, just doesn't have the supply to work with. And this should be his final stand. The Immortal goes down, no shield batteries. No defensive setup. You just can't afford it. Not like this. GG gets called and Clem takes game number 1. GG. Whew, GG, well played. And I feel like this game was a really good example of just how familiar they are with each other. Again, Classic and Clem, they often trade. They often go back and forth. We've seen Classic beat Clem. We've seen Clem beat Classic. Classic, of course, he's the one that knocked Clem out of EWC, for example, at this most recent Esports World Cup. And even in the weeklies, like Classic is one that does often threaten Clem. But winding it back, the reason why I bring that up is because what happened this game? Clem didn't scout. No SCV scout, no Reaper scout. Clem, he was blindly going for a 2-on-1 early tank push without stim, with pure marine, with 2 tanks, and blindly he was punishing the hyper greed of Classic. He had no confirmation that Classic was being greedy, he just made that assumption. He was assuming that Classic was cutting corners. Winding it back, what did Classic go for? 2-gate blink. He went 2-gate blink into a third. This is a build that is very... I would say old-fashioned. It's very previous meta, like 2 patches ago or start of the year. Like, it's from the start of the year. This was very, very common, very go-to to go for this greedy build. But if you remember, that all fell by the wayside in the lead up to DreamHack Dallas. In the lead up to DreamHack Dallas, that is when we saw the rise of 2 ace all-ins in this matchup, and that is when this build died in TVP, because it's just so greedy, and Protoss players, they just stopped going for it because it was so common for Terran players to cheese 2 all-in, and because of that, we saw safer builds rise up instead. 3-gate blink Stalker, 3-gate blink, faster robo, faster gases. Here, Classic did cut corners, and Clem did punish. Clem did punish. And with that, we're getting into game number 2. So again, just a really good read, or a really nice kind of game sense, or really metagaming is maybe the better way of putting it. Metagaming there by Clem, because he had 0 information. But here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Ultralove, we have the French Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player. We have the red Protoss, the South Green Protoss, representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Here we go. As we're getting into game 2 now, as a reminder, welcome to Ultralove. Ultralove is a much more aggressive map in the map pool. Shorter rushes is my ground, more exposed 3rd expansion as well. You have this area in between the 3rd, the 4th, and the natural that can be abused. This low ground area to wedge yourself in between as the aggressing Terran player. We do expect safer play by Classic this time. Not 2-gate blink, we're expecting 3-gate blink Stalker, and maybe even the robo and gases as well, also on 2 bases. We'll see how safe he plays. Likewise, Clem should not be anywhere near as aggressive either, as there's a lower chance that it would be as successful, but we'll see. For now, economic opener, racks expand. So single gas start here from Clem. There's a higher chance that this time he does open up Reaper. Last game he did skip his Reaper scout, he skipped his SCV scout. And this time, yep, Reaper is on the way. Again, just because of the map, just because of how the series has progressed, makes sense to get some scouting information. As the SCV moves out as well. So you can kind of see how like a series evolves over time. How one game impacts the other. So Clem picks in. And he should confirm the... faster 2nd gateway out of Classic. Okay. So my apologies, did miss that, but that's a 2-gate opener. 2nd gateway, I believe, before the Nexus. So hyper aggression here from Classic. He's moving out, crowning out the first wave of adepts with 2 more behind this as well. So we're getting a much faster 2nd gateway, much more aggressive start here from Classic, and Clem so far is unaware. Oh, yeah, the Reaper's outside of the bases. Clem is yet to confirm. Getting a safety bunker on the high ground. And here comes Classic. Moves out. Clem, he does spot at least 1 adept. Dips into the main, and he will count the gateways. Yeah, he sees, he knows. He knows what's going on. Bunker is finishing. So very fortunate that he got the safety bunker. CC is not going to be... Oh my god! Saves the SCV as well. Barely not delayed. Whew, and Clem, he walls up. He walls up, he walls off. 0 damage being dealt here. Denied mining, but so far a solid defense here from Clem. Marine pulls away in time. Reaper is out. And do you see what I see? Once again, that is a second Rax for Clem. And Classic doesn't see. Intentionally he's throwing down a little bit further back. This is very similar to last game. Second Rax. From here, we can go for a third Rax, or we can go for another 2-on-1, 2-base all-in. Does cool down supply. Again, that's a recent change from the start of the year. That does fully heal up the depot. Depot's fully healed, and we're just trying to buy time for the Cyclone. We're buying time for the Cyclone. One SCV goes down, gets a Marine, and the Cyclone pops. And with the help of the Cyclone, Clem, he will shut this down. Gets a lock on the Stalker. Ooh, gets one. Stalker goes down. Classic, he commits though. Yeah, he still commits. He's going for the Cyclone. And he should barely get it. Yeah, Cyclone does fall. Boys are being pulled. And Clem will punish. Catching out the army. 2 Stalkers remain. Oof, down to 1. And was that worth it here for a Classic? It kind of depends on the follow-up. Starport, same build. So 2-on-1. Once again, we're not rushing. We're not going for the add-on swap. We're not rushing to stim. This should be, once again, for an early tank into an early push. And we spoke earlier about this position here in between the bases. This can be very abusable with an early tank push to wedge yourself in between the 3rd, the 4th, and the natural. Clemmy's going for it. Meanwhile, this was indeed 2-gate blink into a 3rd base with a more aggressive start, to be fair, but I mean, Classic did lose 3 Stalkers, 2 Adepts, did deny some mining time, but Clem is going for an all-in anyway. Like I say, quote-unquote all-in. It's very committed here. Very committed. Technically, last game, Clem did expand behind it afterwards, but that was after he had killed the 3rd already. And we should be waiting for the 2nd tank. So we wait for the 2nd tank, and then it's go time. So the same push. Same push, just different way we got there. Jesus, that's a massive gateway explosion for Classic. Going into Mass Blink Stalker. Building up 6 gateways. Hallucination does confirm the setup. Classic is aware. Blink is done in a couple of seconds. And here comes a push. Here comes a move out. And can Classic save his 3rd? That should be the goal here for Clem, is to break down the 3rd base. Ooh, does split up the army. Okay. Cheeky moves out of Clem. He's trying to bait the army in. Okay, thankfully, Classic does check with 1 Stalker. So 1 Stalker tanks the shots. Classic tries to surround. Clem did already on siege. Jumping across the map. Classic is going for the natural. He breaks in. He breaks into the natural. Oh. Clem pulls away. And Clem, he doesn't turn around. He does not turn. He wants a 3rd. He wants a 3rd base. Back at home, he abandons the natural. We're going for base trade. He forces the recall. Tanks, they do siege, but there's so many Stalkers. And Classic, he dives in. He cleans up all the tanks. 1, 2 tanks go down. And Classic, he holds. He holds. He saves the 3rd base. Classic, he survives. Better start. Better start for Classic. He saves the 3rd. He does have a worker advantage. Clem, he's stuck on 2 bases. And lost the tanks. Clem, he lost the tanks. He's stuck at home. Better main game, well, better setup for Classic. I say setup just because he still needs to saturate his 3rd base. His tech is delayed, just now working towards splash damage. It's still very tense. Still very tense here. Clem going for his double drop. Classic, he could try to dive into the main. Never mind. Oh, he's trying to intercept. Classic is trying to catch a drop. It's on the other side. Here comes the main move out. Clem, he still has no expansion. He still has chosen not to get a CC. Clem's still very committed on 2 bases. Just now getting a 3rd. Much more delayed 3rd base here for Clem. And he needs to get some damage to make it worth it. Cyber Core. Gets over one of the gateways. Oh, brutal blink. Clem gets punished. A lot of Stalkers going down as well. Classic big misstep here. Losing, what, 3, 4 Stalkers? Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, big misstep. Storm is still not yet done, finishing up in 5 seconds. Clem stumbles into all the Stalkers. Oh, that's away. Storm is done. Storm is ready in time. Classic trying to hold on. He has only 2 High Templar, just 1 Storm. He can't waste it. He cannot waste it here. Oh. The retargeting. Let's go. Yeah, connects with the Zealots, the most value here for Clem. There's the first Storm. And there's 1 Storm left in the chamber, about to be 2. And more Storms coming in. Let me kites back. Storm mainly just zones. Oh. Nice control. Does bait away. It just zones away the High Templar. Takes care of more Zealots. Clem is still pushing in. Behind this, finally taking a 3rd base. But Clem is still very committed, very aggressive. He's up in army supply. But he is yet to break into the bases. He's rotating over. Still looking for a way in. Classic is out of position. He's over at his own triangle 3rd. He has at the 4th base. Clem pushing on the right-hand side. Okay. I thought he was going to push towards the 3rd. The 3rd is so vulnerable right now. Clem plays it safe, denies the 4th. This does give time for Classic to respond. Gives him time. Classic, he pushed into the center. He's still out of position. There's a Storm though. Yeah, nice Storm. Classic is holding. He saves his 3rd base. His 4th base is late though. Yeah, very late 4th. Prism goes down, denies the warp in. Economically, Classic is not where he needs to be. He's long distance mining. He still has some potential with these Thorns, but now there are Ghosts. Yeah, Ghosts are out, EMPs are available. Classic, he feels like he can't get much done. Shows EMPs. Oh! Ooh, does end 1. There's 3 Templar left. Does land a decent Storm. Yeah, a couple of Storms do land. There's, what, 3 Storms left? Oh, we're a little bit trigger happy. Yeah, too soon. Too premature here. A lot of Storms being wasted, and now there's, what, there's 2 Storms left. They're in the Prism. Jeez, how many Templar? Oh my god. They just keep popping up. 6 Templar. Where are we headed? Where are we going? Classic, calm down. The High Templar, they go across the map. They do overshoot. Templar, they're coming in from behind. It is so risky having 3 Templar in the open like this. But hey, he gets into the mineral line. 14 net ACVs. Does cripple the economy. He's forcing Clem's hand. Ooh, Prism goes down. Where are the flanking High Templar? Yeah, they're now coming in. Get some decent Storms. Nice EMP. No more Storms. He's running out of Storms as Zealots have arrived, and Classic, he's barely holding on here. Let's force Clem back. Does force him back, does keep up. Does deal with the main army. Clem is still rallying across the map as well, head towards the 3rd. Nice snipes. Snipes the Templar. That was the final Storm. That's the only High Templar. Yeah, that's the only Templar left, which means now we can step in. Then we look to stay forward. At least until the Colossus arrives. The Marauders have, oh my god, wait, what? The Marauders, they kill the Colossus, they depower the Robo. And GG gets called despite that classic. He does hold on to the main. He gets across the map with the War Prism. GG. Whew, a very messy game. Very messy, very intense game, I should say. GG, well played. A classic, he does fight back. Again, very intense. Clem was so committed on 2 bases, winding it back. It was a really intense start. We saw that classic, he went for his initial 2-gate opener. Wasn't really too successful. We saw that Clem went for the follow-up. He went for his own 2-1-1. He was unable to break through any of the bases though. He denied the 4th base, but he did not get into the 3rd. He didn't get the damage he was hoping for. His 3rd base was so late as a result. Likewise, so was the 4th base of Classic. So things were getting very messy. Very messy. Both players had a bit of a lower economy, but in the end, we saw the Zealot run-bys were the key. Time and time again, workers were going down, and Clem was stuck on a lower economy. GG. Whew. GG, well played. We're getting into game number 3. Getting into game 3 here, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tokamak, we have the French Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player. This is green Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Here we go. Ooh, hello, Classic. As he does send it out across the map, sends out his probe and setting up for a proxy gateway. Okay, so hyper aggression out of Classic. Bold move, considering that we are loading into Tokamak, so there's a higher chance that Clem is going for a greedy economic build. And we'll see if Classic can catch Clem with his pants down. Here we go, as we are going for a 2-gate opener. Again, he's hoping that Clem goes for a low ground command center. Is hoping. And with that, ideally, Classic wants to force a cancel. So force a cancel on the CC. Single gas opener. Clem is going for an economic start. This is lining up for Classic. So far, so good. We are lining things up. CC is going to be on the low ground. And the initial results on the way. No, it's going to come down to the reaction. The reaction of Clem, whether or not he can preserve his base, whether or not he can trade against the army and survive the follow-up. It's going to be double Zealot into Stalker aggression. Again, Cybercore is almost done. Clem, he doesn't go across the map immediately. He's checking for proxies. Okay. He does check his 3rd, checks the center expansion, he confirms. Yeah, he sees both LT, knows exactly what's going on. Back at home, he pulls back, a bunker on the high ground, he cancels the CC. Very quick reaction here out of Clem, the best case scenario for the blue Terran. Best case scenario, walls up the main base, CC on the high ground. And again, Classic, he was hoping that the Reaper would move out. If the Reaper went across the map, then we would have seen a little more of a committed setup here at the natural, a delayed bunker, and Classic would have just ended the game. He could have just killed. That could have just been game. The Reaper does still fall, but the bunker will complete. Boys are being pulled. One SCV goes down. Bunker does finish. Marines load up. And Clem will hold. He will hold on. Classic trying to edge out a little bit more damage here, a little bit more value. Back at home, Classic is expanding, and we're trying to macro out of this. Whew. Looking to macro out. Frankly, you're wrong. There's not a 2-on-1. It's a tank push. It's a tank push 2-on-1. If you Didn't make it clear. Did explain that, if you recall. From here, Clem, he does expand, does break out, tank production has begun, and so far, how do we kind of settle in? Honestly, Clem, his economy is looking decent. And we'll see if we can catch some stalkers. Alright, does they move out? They do catch, oh, almost one. There we go, one stalker does get picked off. Get picked off. We're getting into our follow-up. Again, it's going to be a bit of a slower start after the more aggressive, after the aggression of Classic. It's going to be up to Classic to contain Clem for as long as possible while he expands. Behind this, we do have our initial 2 gates set up into a 3rd, so a little bit of a greedier follow-up here. As we're going into charge first, not blink. Okay. Getting to a charge follow-up. With charge, we could try to dive into the natural. Speaking of, he can dive on top of the tank. Yeah, tank should be forfeit. Nice pick up here by Classic. Takes down the tank, takes down the Cyclone. And it does force the boys to be pulled. Oh, even forcing friendly fire. Yeah, a lot of SCV is going to be going down. Very nice fight here for Classic. 10 SCV kills. Takes down 12. And that's the goal here. That's the hope when you open up charge, is you want to fight out in the open. You want to force this kind of reaction. Catch out the tanks. More Zelda warping in, and Classic doesn't go for the standard 3rd base, he goes for the gold. Oh my god. It's that Classic. Playing like hero, to be honest. Like proxy 2 gate into charge into gold. Hey, hey, hey. Not what I'm used to seeing out of Classic, is what I will say. Not what I'm used to seeing. Clem is still going to be contained. Behind this, Classic enjoying his 3rd, getting it up and running. And we'll see if Clem can break out. See if he can break out, and how he breaks out as well. And so now he's stuck at home. Oh, gets the observer. Catch the observer. With the added minerals here from the gold, I mean, we can afford a lot of charge lots. And with that, Classic should be able to punish any kind of attempted move out. Assuming he sees it ahead of time. As Clem is yet to confirm. Oh! He's yet to confirm the 3rd. Does break out. There are TCs on the way, so Clem is not turning this into a 2-base all-in. I was curious if he was. If he was just going to commit on 2 bases. But no, Clem is expanding, he's slowly breaking out, and we're going to calm down. We're calming down into a longer game. We'll see if Clem can try to punish these bases. Checking his vision, he still did not confirm the gold, so Clem still doesn't really know what's going on. He doesn't know what to punish yet. Oh, until now. Shout out to the Raven.
Upgrade. Additional
Raven does
supply
scouts.
depots
Ooh,
required.
barely gets away as well. And Clem is pushing. Nice reaction, nice rotation. He's going for the gold, and with the help of these tanks, he can set up. Observer gets sniped. Tanks are moving in. Yeah, Classy can't quite engage. Are we going for the base trade? Let's go. We're just going across the map. Avoids the main army, going straight for the natural. Let's go. Oh, I go to the mine shots. Decent connections. Decent connections here, but again, Clem is out of position. Zealous taking into the mineral line. And Clem has to turn all the way back around. A little workers to evacuate, warping into the main base, going for sentries, going for more force fields. Let's go. He force fields the ramp. He can't get in. Yeah, cannot get into the main. I mean, thankfully has medevacs. Oh, also was misplaced. Yeah, misplaced force field. Marines, they get in regardless. Clem, he will lose a mineral line, but he will clean up all these L's at least. Yeah, cleans this up. Shuts down the army. Did leave the tanks behind. Which should be cleaned up. Yeah, a bit of a misstep here. Oh. Oh my god, the prism. The mine shut down the prism. Prism goes down, very fortunate there for Clem. Takes down the prism, was able to destroy at least some of the mineral patches here. Classic still has an economy to work with, still has Storm at least as well. But the army size isn't there. This is the main army. This is the army, 3-eyed Templar, some Zealots. Classic can let out so much there in that base trade, in the intended base trade. And we're going for it again. Okay, Classic hits the natural, meanwhile Clem into the main. Let me boost into the main base. Not much of him to defend. Yeah, no Storm. Oh, there's the NG overcharge. We got one Storm in the main. Jesus. Oh my god. Brutal Storm in the main. But it was just one Storm. Yeah, it was just one Storm. Oof. Black West covers the ramp. All the SMEs, they do not escape. Oh my god. The Storms are brutal. And we commit. Depowers the pylons. A couple of probes do get away. So workers will escape. Clem, he has the more efficient army. Shuts down the Zealots, gets into the second base. There is a recall available, but the reality is that Classic cannot fight the main army. And Clem has too much. Clem has far too much here. He'll take down all the bases. He's floating over his main. He evacuates. The Great Migration. Gets the hell out of there. But even if it wasn't for that, it's like the Classic is his ZBS output is just too low. It's just too low. It's too slow to kill the buildings. There's still mining going on the right hand side. So that's the final nexus here for Classic. And it is scouted. Clem does scout. He has mules, of course. So we can, yeah, we can, he can just mule up his bases. He still has an economy. And Clem, he turns around. Turns around. He wants that expansion. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Now there is a chance for Classic to take this fight with Storms. Like if the Storms, if they are the most perfect Storms, if Clem just takes the Storms to the face, then maybe, but that's the only chance. The only real chance here is with Storms. Looks like he will kill bottom right. I spoke too soon. Clem coming to save. Coming in to intercept. And he can clean this up. And he kites well, cleans up with the Zealots, has better upgrades. Oh, brutal losses there for Classic, and that's gonna be game. Like, he had to preserve the army and spend it all together. You had to bring it all together, Pat. Down to 3 Templar, 1 Stalker, a couple of Zealots that are in the main. And Clem is cranking out Banshees. Let's go. We're huffing a little bit of I mean, I say copium. Classic doesn't really know what the economic game state is really looking like here. But yeah, the Banshees, they go in, they're cloaked, no detection, they go for the Templar. Oof. And that's going to be the nail in the coffin. The nail in the coffin here. All the probes go down. Now we have the final main fight. That was the final storm. GG gets called, and Clem, he will take a lead in the series 2-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. A very, very intense game here. Honestly, I was really impressed by Classic in the beginning, the first half. The first half of the game got me, right? I was so impressed by Classic's aggression to go for a 2-gate opener, into charge, into the gold expansion as well. As I was saying, I was like, yo, it's like I'm watching herO right now. Like, it's crazy. It was really cool to see. Unfortunately, he got scouted, if you recall. Like, as soon as the gold base was seen, we saw that Clem, he responded to it. He rotated over. He was able to punish and deny mining at the gold base. We saw that Classic's response to that was the base trade. If you remember, we had the main army pushing towards the gold. Classic, he avoided the main fight. He went straight across the map, and he dealt a lot of damage. He was able to cripple the economy, and he tried to commit even harder, pushing further into the main base, force fielding the ramp. Unfortunately, the force fields were a little bit misplaced, and of course we had the medevacs to drop into the main as well. So Clem, he was able to still take control of his own main base, deal with the main army, and in a head-on fight, Classic just couldn't take it. He just could not take a head-on fight. Just could only go for said base trades, and GG. GG, well played. In the end, he got cleaned up, he got shut down, and Clem did overwhelm. And now we're getting into our next game. But again, a very chaotic game. That's very chaotic. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. As now we're loading into Pylon. Here we go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner. In the bottom right hand corner here of Pylon, we have the French Terran player. We have the French Terran. We have the Red Terran representing Team Liquid, leading the series 2-1. One game away from claiming the series. It is Clem. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss, representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Here we go. The game plan is pretty well thought out by Classic, for sure, for sure. I would say that. So that's what was most impressive to me from Classic. But Clem, he was able to, in the end, punish and just force a more awkward game state out of Classic with the base trades. Here we go. Here we go. So loading into Pylon. Pylon is one of the more aggressive maps in the map pool. Shorter rush distance by ground. Aggression is favored here on Pylon. And for the first time this series, double gas. Double gas opener out of Clem. Every game so far we've seen Rax expands, but now not anymore. At least not here, not on Pylon, which makes sense. Does make sense. So with the double gas opener, that means we're going to be getting a faster factory. We're going to be going for a delayed command center. And with this, it's going to be a more tech-heavy start, faster starport as a result as well. From here, Clem has options. He can go into Reactor Reaper Hellion, he can go for more committed early Cyclone, he can go for early Banshee play or committed Banshee play, Widowmine drops. Show us what you got. So Classic does open up standard Gate Cyber Expand. Gate Cyber Expand. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure my camera is now out of battery. Unfortunate. Yeah, Bunny Cam is frozen. Only lasts 3 hours. I don't really have a good solution to it yet. Not yet. But now Clem going for the CC on the high ground as well. Very safe play. Very safe. And Clem behind the Reaper does open up with the early tech lab. So no Hellion, no Widowmine play, is going for the tech lab on that factory. From here we can try to set up for a later add-on swap. We'll see. For now it's going to be a Cyclone opener. If it's USB powered, you can always power it by a phone power bank. I tried, but I guess it's not compatible. Like, I plugged it into the power bank, but it was just not, it was not taking. So unfortunately, that did not work. We have Classic going for a safer build, which is what we're used to seeing here. We have 3 gates, so 3-gate Blink at a Classic staying on 2 bases, going for a delayed 3rd expansion. Meanwhile, Clem back at home getting into his own 1-1-1 into early tank push. Speaking of, here he comes. We have the tank in the medevac, we have a reinforcing tank behind this, and Clem, he's sending everything across the map. This is a very common build for Clem, especially on Pylon. It's hyper aggressive, very committed, and he's going straight for the kill, straight for the natural. Let's go. Let's go. Tank does get within range of the shield battery. Shots going up. Does get the sentry. Yeah, nice pick up. Sentry goes down. Shield battery's out of Engie. And Clem is forcing his way in. Again, we've seen this build with Clem versus herO, Clem versus Max. Very fond of it. Just go for the 1-1-1. Rally the first tank. And just keep rallying back. The tanks, the Vikings, the everything. Classic gets the buy time for the Immortal. The Immortal's on the way. The Immortal's still in production here. Oof. And with that, does focus out the tank. Tank does fall. Does get the tank, and Clem still forcing his way in. Does focus out 3 more Stalkers, brutal pickups, and here comes the second tank. Yeah, deal with one, another does rise to take its place. Clem still pushing in, the Immortal's almost out. The Immortal's almost arrived. Casito, papi, casito. Even with the Immortal, though, I'm not sure it's going to be enough. He blinks in. Goes a blink. Gets a tank. Tank barely goes down. A nice micro there. Yeah, nice pick up micro against the Immortal. Immortal still falls. And we've bought enough time for what? For the 3rd tank. the 3rd tank has arrived. Again, every time one tank goes down, the other barely arrives in time. A tank has arrived, Viking as well. And Clem has done it. Clem, he has done it. He has broken through, takes out all the Stalkers, takes down the mineral line, and there is nothing left to defend. We're warping in 1 unit, 1 Stalker. That's it. That's the army. Down to 1 Stalker. He dances. I appreciate the dance towards the end. GG gets called, and Clem, he will take the series 3-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. GG, well played. If you've been watching Clem versus Classic recently, I say recently, maybe the past 2 weeks, like the past 2 weeks, they keep doing that whenever they GG out. Both Clem and Classic, the slash dance. I love it. But GG, well played. With that, congratulations, Clem. He will claim the series at 2-1. He will advance on. A very intense back and forth here. When it comes to Classic, unfortunately, he was unable to slow down the push. We were a little bit distracted at the time, unfortunately, when it came to getting into the build itself. But just hyper aggressive, basically 2-base to win out of Clem, going for his 1-1-1 into Cyclone, into tank production, just rallying everything across the map with your tanks, with your Vikings. Unfortunately, ideally, as a Protoss player, you want to be engaging ahead of time in the center of the map to slow down the push, to delay the siege, to delay the tanks, to buy as much time as possible. If you remember, Classic didn't engage with the army until it was already in his face. It was already at his natural, which is also why you see this build on Pylon. We spoke about this at the start of the game. Pylon is the smallest map of the map pool, shortest rush distance by ground. It is the most aggressive map, right? It's the most aggressive map. This map favors this kind of play. This kind of play is bolstered, is boosted by the map itself. So it's buffed by the map, so you have even less time to react, even less time to respond. And again, Classic, he wasn't able to engage ahead of time. GG. GG, well played. With that, he couldn't buy enough time, and Clem does claim the series. And now we can catch up on the rest of the brackets. Okay. Here we go. So we have our bracket updated. We have our quarterfinals concluding. Creator, he kicked things off with a 3-0 win over Percival, did advance on to the semis. SHIN took down ByuN 3-0 as well. So we have Creator versus SHIN in the upper semis. Rogue, he does fall to herO. herO takes down Rogue 3-1. We had an intense back and forth. We had a late game win as well there for Rogue, which was very impressive. That was on ley lines, if you remember. That was herO having too much fun with carriers and being stuck on carriers a little bit too long and being a little bit inefficient with his fights. Then of course we had Classic and Clem facing off, also intense, also back and forth, very high octane, a lot of aggression, a lot of two-base play as well from both sides, I should say. A lot of aggression from both sides, but in the end Clem did claim it. GG, well played. And with that, we have our top four. We have our top four for the tournaments. We have Creator, SHIN, herO, and Clem. Now, bear this in mind, this was only day one. Day one of LiuLi Cup. Tomorrow, we're going to be live with day number 2 with the semifinals and finals of the tournament. Again, this is an invitational. Big shout to LiuLi. LiuLi is Saber, he's a Chinese content creator. He's a Chinese caster, and he does run these events on a semi-regular basis. There are 2 tournaments that he runs. He runs LiuLi Cup weekly. That is not this. And he runs LiuLi Cup. LiuLi Cup, this is an invitational. So every now and then, it's like maybe every 2 weeks. It's very sporadic. But every now and then, he does host these tournaments. Sometimes it's a single elimination bracket. Sometimes it's like a off-race tournament, like an off-race show match. Sometimes it's a round-robin group. It's a show match. It's an invitational. And every tournament, it's something different. Does something different. Here it was just a more standard, like kind of 8-player invitational, single elimination bracket, best of 5s into best of 7 finals, and that is going to be wrapping up tomorrow. It's going to be wrapping up tomorrow. So thank you so much. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. Some really intense games here, and unfortunately we weren't able to showcase any of the TLMC 21 maps yet, but we should be able to do so next time. For now though, let's catch up on our schedule very quickly here. Bam, there we go. You can see our weekly schedule here. We just wrapped up with our Monday cast. Tomorrow we're going to be live, I say tomorrow, in around 10 hours. Yeah, in around 10 hours time, we're going to be live with day 2 of LiuLi Cup. So 10 hours from now, we're going to be live once again. You can see here we have Pickaster Cup on Wednesday. We have the SC2 Safe House Playoffs replay cast on Wednesday evening. We have the Turtle Tussle on Thursday. We have the Platinum StarCraft League Saturday evening, or I guess Friday evening, Saturday morning. We have RSL over the weekend and Tuna Cup as well. RSL, that is the Revival StarCraft Season 3 qualifiers. The qualifiers, they're this weekend, so it's going to be the Korean qualifier, the European qualifier, and the global qualifier, and the Americas qualifier as well. So we have qualifiers for all the regions. That is starting this weekend over the next week of play. So a couple of days of qualifiers. We should be able to cover all of them. I know that last season we were unavailable for some of the casts. Do apologize for that, but this season we should be there. We should be able to cover all those qualifiers, and again, that's going to be starting this weekend. Oh boy. So we have RSL, we have Turtle Tussle, Pickaster Cup, S2 Safe House, and more. And also, of course, the podcast. The podcast every week. Every week we have a talk show. We have a podcast here where we do catch up with all the news of the week, with everything that's been happening in StarCraft. Of course, the big announcement is this week the return of Kung Fu Cup, right? The return of Kung Fu Cup, the return of the Chinese server, and the big tournament that is around the corner as well. There's a lot of content, a lot of StarCraft, and potentially the return of WTL. Don't want to confirm anything. I think it's just rumors for now. But again, SE Boy, they are back in StarCraft, and they're investing quite heavily once again, thanks to, of course, their partnership with NetEase, and thanks to the return of the Chinese server. So a lot of hype, a lot of StarCraft is on the horizon here. I think there's even some scheduling issues, if I recall correctly. I think RSL and the SE Boy tournament, I think they're clashing a little bit, and I think they're going to try to resolve that. I think that they're going to try to resolve that as well. And of course, we have more content on the horizon. As always, we're typically live all the time. We used to be live twice a day, every day. Nowadays, it's a little bit leaner, a little bit lighter. Some days we have 2 casts, other days we at least have at least one cast a day sort of thing. Here on the CranKy Ducklings. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate the support, and we'll see you guys next time. Potential Chinese client death sounds. True. No. The best part of the Chinese client. Aye. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And again, we'll be live with day 2 of LiuLi Cup in 10 hours time. And we have, of course, plenty more StarCraft on the way this week. This is our weekly schedule. If you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon. The Patreon does support our weekly and regular tournaments, our weeklies and monthlies, all funded via Patreon. Otherwise, you can just support us by following us. By following us here on Twitch, you can also follow us over on YouTube. YouTube is the place to be. VODs are uploaded on a daily basis, so we have plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft. We cast more StarCraft than anyone else out there, more than Wardy, more than Steadfast. We have all the content, we have the quantity, and we have a little bit of the quality as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for support. Do appreciate it. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you in 10 hours. See you tomorrow. Till then, I'm gonna go let the bunnies out. I'm gonna go let the bunnies out. And decompressed. But thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. See you next time. Hasta luego.